Are we on?
I think so.
Oh, man. Wouldn't that be wild if we were on right now?
All right, welcome
All right.
to the Black Box. This is
Yes.
Nerdish.
This is Nerdish.
It is a cube. We've measured it.
I'm Brendan.
I'm Brady.
I'm Levi. What is? Tell them
All
what
right.
that
Hey,
is.
KM.
You
I got
have-
a little
hey, Cam.
cold. I'm a little
Yeah,
congested.
he's a little sick.
You can probably hear it in my voice. It's not going to
Original.
affect my teaching, I swear. And if it does, you guys could fire me.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes.
You heard it here first. All right.
Yeah.
We have a couple of questions in the Discord, I think, that we might try to do. For anyone joining, feel free to throw questions into our Discord. Throw them up in the chat. We'll go over those.
I know that iCrush wanted Comet Fanboys stuff.
Oh, that's some good fan stuff.
Yeah. So
Long fan
we'll
stuff.
definitely hit that. But you want to do one of the Discord questions first?
There was a couple of math questions earlier today.
Oh.
Okay. That we didn't get to.
We did, but I like this one.
Thank you, KM. I hope so.
I think it's a good problem to go over in general.
Sure. Let's start there.
All right. We have.
Do you want your own?
I'll hold this up to make sure I can see it right. For those of you wondering, this question is in our Discord. It was posted by one of our followers earlier today. There's a triangle. We're given A, B, C, and D. We know this is 28 degrees. This is 28 degrees. And we want to know which of the following, and they give us some answer choices here, but what is proportional to AB over BC? Right? Is proportional to what over what?
First one of the night. Woo!
Hey, what's up, Waldo? All right. Couple of things you need to realize, or what we say recognize, right?
Yeah,
We can break this into two different triangles, and we should, right? We have, I'm going to draw them much smaller. I have ABC, and I have BDC. Whoops. Now, what we know about these two triangles, that they both have B and C, meaning this angle for both of these is going to be the same, right? It's a shared angle. All right? Not only do we have a 28 and a 28, we now have another angle that's shared. B is 28 and A is 28, so those are similar, right? Those are the same angle measure, meaning if we have two angles and these two angles being the same, it follows that the third angle has to be the same. All right? From here, we simply have two similar triangles. They give us side lengths, I believe, that I probably should have written up there. No, they didn't. Great. That actually makes this easier. From here, we say we have AB, or AB, over BC, which means we want to have the corresponding legs of the second triangle, the smaller triangle. Because they're similar, they're going to be proportional to each other. AB goes from the two angles to the three I drew here, so the 2 to the 3, so that's going to be BD. And then BC goes from 3 to 1. 3 to 1 is DC. And that's your answer. I believe that's option A in there. Thanks, Levi. If there are any questions on this, let me know. If you guys have any more questions, whether it be math or grammar, anything in between, let us know. We can answer that. I think some of you have done this. Feel free to hit enter or ticket for our giveaway.
The giveaway is me revising your college essay for free. I'll give you a free session. I do it normally, but normally I make people pay me. So you can get it for free if you do what they're doing in the chat right now, and you get one free ticket, and then you can get more tickets the longer you watch the stream. All that good stuff. Yeah, there you go. I think you need, what is it, 20?
20 points.
20 nerds. 20 points. Maybe we should just do points. I feel like...
No.
Okay.
I was thinking it'd be fun to have Nerds Ropes as our currency. Remember Nerds Ropes?
Hey, Pink Talent.
Yes.
They were like the licorice with the
Or
nerds on them.
Tyant.
Hey.
Talent.
Is it an L?
Pink Tyent.
I think it is an I.
Looks
Pink
like an
tie.
I.
But hey, thanks for joining.
Yes.
Isn't an Ent Dr.
tree
Not a
beard?
Dr. Seuss character. Yeah.
It's a
The other one.
Tolkien.
They're similar.
Yeah, they're pretty much on the same level.
Okay. Oh, and Blue somebody?
Blue Ninja. Yeah.
Blue Ninja. Oh, Blue
subscriber.
Ninja's been
Blue
here. What am I
Ninja.
saying?
Great.
Okay, should
You
I
wanna
do
go
Common
over
Fanboys?
Fanboys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, actually,
Talent.
no. I want to wait. iCrush,
talent.
if you're here, iCrush, please ask for it because I don't want to do it before you get here. So I don't know when you're coming in, but I think I told you to ask in Discord when you get here.
Yeah,
Other than that, if you have any questions, go down to the Discord, put your questions there. Math is pretty easy to do. Just screenshot, put it in, something like that, or general grammar stuff, or do you like the what order to do the reading passages in,
yeah.
things like that.
Anything you guys want to know?
Regina had a math question that I put back on the Discord, but I could
Yeah.
also do it. Should I do it? You guys want
Yeah,
me to do
I think
it?
so.
All right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
Hey,
First
who's
time.
this?
Improbable events.
Very good. Very
thanks
good.
for joining us.
Welcome.
Feel free to ask
welcome.
us any questions you have on the SAT.
Yes.
Or Brendan's personal life.
Yes, so that's another thing. Brendan's personal life is a big part of this stream.
Very
so
big.
If you want to know about that, it's
not
that.
a
There
thing.
is a subject test
not-
that we are lobbying to have added to the subject test list. But put your questions down below in the Discord, or just ask them in the chat if they're simple enough.
Yes. This
Do you
is
want me
more
to write anything for you? Answer choices or anything?
Pretty much. Oh, actually,
yeah.
that would be great.
2-6, root 2, or root
Yeah.
6.
This is more a vehicle for us to have an excuse to talk about Brendan's personal life, as we all thought we could just do SAT stuff on Twitch. It was kind of the path of least resistance.
2-6, root 2, root 6.
Okay.
So the question was, this expression 1/3 x squared minus 2 can be rewritten as 1/3 times x minus k times x plus k for some positive constant k. And they're asking, what could that positive constant k be?
Thanks for the follow, excretion.
Excretion. Is it
Excretion. Don't worry.
Execration?
what is it?
Execration.
Execration. Very good. Very good.
Test 4, section 2, 22.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So that's
this is
writing.
going to be my towel because I'm sick.
Of taking hours?
Sick of taking yours. I always take your guys.
I know.
So if it says it can be rewritten as that, I will set these two things equal to each other. If two things can be rewritten as each other, that means that they are each other, meaning that, you can make an equation out of that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That's pretty crazy.
It's insane. The first time I really realized that, I was in a weird, never mind. Okay.
Yeah. Can I
I'm not
erase this
gonna,
for
yeah,
you?
go for it. That's totally fine. That's totally fine. Okay, so one thing I see right now is that there is a 1/3 on both these sides, and I would love to just cross it out from both sides. However, it is not connected to the 2, so I can't just erase it from this side and erase it from this side as though I'd multiplied by 3. So I can multiply both sides by 3. That's a very easy way to do this. I'm going to do that. It's going to change the 2. That's where I was going with this, is the 2 is going to have to change. If I multiply both sides by 3. We're going to the whole equation is that. It's going to take away the 1/3 from the x squared, leaving us with x squared. It's going to be distributed to the 2, leaving us minus 6. And then we're finally done with the 1/3 over here, meaning x minus k, x plus k. So this pattern here is a factoring pattern called the difference of squares. And if you FOIL it out, the middle terms cancel. It's kind of fun. And you're left with x squared minus k squared. Usually when you learn it, the formula is a squared minus b squared. That's equal to x squared minus 6. So these things are starting to look pretty similar to each other if you ask me. If you ask Brendan, he probably wouldn't say that. We disagree on how things look sometimes. But we're trying to find what k is. So x squared, we have 1 x squared on both sides. We're going to get rid of that. People really call soda pop. Yeah, in some places in the country. If I just subtract x squared from both sides, it disappears. Easy as that. Leaving us with negative 6 is equal to negative k squared. I can multiply both of them by negative 1, so the negatives just disappear. Leaving us 6 equal to k squared. At this point, you just need to square root both sides to get rid of that square. And you're left with k is equal to the positive square root of 6, because they told us before that k was positive. So I don't need to take the negative square root of 6. So this one is going to be D. Very good.
Can I say one thing with this one?
Oh.
I'm happy with this. I just wanted to add in this thing here. So you have that 6 equals k squared.
Absolutely.
If you're here, in general, if you're starting with the squared and then you're trying to solve for whatever that variable is in there, when you take the square root, it's going to be the positive or negative square root.
Yes.
If you start with k, or let's do a different one. So this would be k equals the positive or negative square root of 6. But in the problem, they told us that it's only the positive, so that's fine. Now, if you were to have x equals the square root of 4, this does not equal negative 2. Sorry, wait. Yes, this does not equal negative 2. It specifically equals positive 2, because if you have this, if this is given to you in this formatting, it implies only the positive square root. It does not imply the negative unless they write specifically positive or negative square root. But if you start out with the case squared, then when you take the square root, you can't assume positive.
He's absolutely right.
Yeah.
That was the question. Blue Ninja, you answered Blue Ninja's question before Blue Ninja even asked it.
That's the plan.
And that's a stealthy ninja right there.
Well, that's because we're in their computers, and so we have access to all of their data. Just
That's
being
true.
small people in
Be
their
careful.
computers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Be careful. All right. We got a couple other questions here. We want the no calculator number. Oh, yeah. Oh, we got a lot
But
of
we
questions
have
here.
Up there as well.
SAT. Let's do SAT writing. Brendan, could you pull that one up?
Yep.
I'm just going to use my towel sparingly.
Okay.
Yeah. Just hang it
Great.
limply. Thank you. Thank you very much. We will
If
be
you
here.
notice,
Yep.
you're very nasal.
Yeah, no, I'm sick.
But
We
you,
talked about that.
You look good.
Oh, no. It's all about how you look.
You sound like death.
I try to not think about how I feel at all times. Try to just think about how must I come off to people, because that's a healthy way to live, right?
What do we got here? 22.
Such as.
I love this problem.
Oh, man. I wish this was mine, but, you gotta take turns.
Okay, so I like this problem a lot. Where are you going to start? I think you always start with recognition. Wait, what am I doing? Okay.
You gotta recognize where you are.
You always have to recognize where you're at. That's absolutely correct. In this problem, there are several differences in the answer choices, and that's where you want to start, with the differences in the answer choices, specifically in the writing section. In the writing section, so here we have, in A, we have commas on either side of such as. In B and C, we have colons. And I think that's where I want to start, because colons are way easier than commas. Commas have a bunch of uses on the test. Colons do not. Colons, let's just put this up here. It's always going to be an independent clause, then colon, and then whatever. There is no other use of colon that's going to be tested on this test. So all we have to do here is test that rule. Check if that rule applies and the colon is used correctly. So in B, we have the colon after such as. Okay, let's see if this is a full sentence or an independent clause beforehand. Where is 22? Where do we start this sentence? Proponents of organic food, of course, are quick to add that there are numerous other reasons to buy organic food, such as, and then the sentence ends. Absolutely not. You have an independent clause, which is great, until you then add such as, so you don't have this full sentence. So because you can't have a full sentence, B is wrong. Please let me know if that doesn't make sense. But the colon in B is, I missed it. There. That colon is wrong. So we don't like B. Dang, Brandon, you're so much better at that than I am.
You get used to it.
Yeah, that's true. For whatever reason, I can't quite tell on the overlay. Is B the only one with the colon in it?
Yeah.
Okay. now we're left with commas. Commas are way harder than colons. So here we need to figure out, do we want such as to have commas on either side of it, just after such as, or just before such as? The commas on either side of such as, which is F, or A, sorry, that doesn't really make sense to me, because with those two commas, it's not listing, it's not dependent clause, comma, independent clause, it's not comma fanboys, so it's got to be non-essential, which makes such as a non-essential, which means we can take it out, and then the sentence doesn't make any sense. Because if you read it to yourself, which I won't do, then A doesn't work. So that's not A. A does not work. Now, we're going to move to C and D. Let's read this sentence again. And we have our independent clause first. We have proponents of organic food, of course, are quick to add that yada, 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 and there are other reasons to buy organic food, such as a desire to protect the environment, something else. That's a non-essential. So everything after such as. So I want a comma to offset the independent clause before such as with such as and everything else, which is the non-essential, meaning that I think the answer should be D. There we go. Got it eventually. D is the right answer here. You have a non-essential and you have your independent clause. So to generalize from this problem, start with colons, start with semicolons, and start with periods. They have specific rules. If you want to know them, ask and we'll put them in the queue. Those have specific rules, start with them. Then move to commas, because commas are way, way harder and have many more uses. And with commas, in this case, we have a non-essential. The non-essential means you can take it out. You have to separate it from the rest of the sentence in that independent clause there. D is the right answer. Can you explain again why the colon isn't right? Yes, I can, Pink. How do you pronounce that name? I will
Talent.
call you.
It's
They said talent.
It is Talent? Okay. Just call him Pink. That's easier. Okay, Pink. In this case, you have a colon. You have to have an independent clause before the colon. The independent clause is that subject and verb. Subject plus verb. It can also stand alone as a sentence. So what we have here is everything before, or everything until the end, which is such as. We're including such as. So we have proponents of organic food, of course, are quick to add that there are numerous other reasons to buy organic food, such as. That's the end of the sentence. Or that's the end of what would need to be our independent clause, something that can stand alone. And of course that can't, because you want to say such as something. But we're cutting it at the colon there. That doesn't work. Call you Pink. I'll call you Pink. Okay, good. I'm glad that makes sense. Assuming that's what O meant, unless something bad happened wherever you are and you were telling us about it. Guys, I think I'm done with that one. So somebody's going to take 9 and 10 in the no-calc?
Yeah, I can do it.
One of you two people? All right.
Alright, I'm gonna fast forward this. Ray, do you mind responding to some of those on the...
We are going to lag for a second because we're moving the overlay and that slows things down. Real quick, iCrush, if you're on, I'm waiting for you to do Comma Fanboy. So let me know when you're on, and then we can. Oh, iCrush is on.
They're on the Discord, so I'm assuming they're.
Gotta be on here.
Well, we're not worried about number 8, so we'll leave this stuff up here right now. Okay, starting with number 9, then we're going to go to number 10. We had a couple different questions on those. All right, we have the square root of x minus a equals x minus 4. If a equals 2, what is the solution set of the equation above? If you don't know what a solution set is, it's just all the different values for x that work. All right, a couple different ways you could approach this. The simple, quick way, you can just plug and chug. Right here you have 3 is in 2 of the options, 6 is in 2 of the options, and 2 is in 1 of them. Meaning, you could plug in 3, see if it works, and if it doesn't, you get rid of A and C. You could plug in 6. If it doesn't work, you get rid of A and D. You can kind of narrow it down doing that. Otherwise, you can actually try to solve for this, right? I actually like just plugging and chugging, right? We'll start from the bottom, work our way up. 6, right? If we say A is 2, 6 minus 2 is 4. The square root of 4 is going to be 2. Let me actually go ahead and plug this in a little bit. We have the square root of 6 minus 2 equals, what is this? 6 minus 4. All right. From here we say that's going to give us the square root of 4. It's going to give us 2. It's going to give us 2, 2. All right. That looks pretty good. So 6 works, which means we're only looking at A or we're only looking at D. I can ignore B and C. X minus A, X minus 4. Yeah. From here, let's just go ahead and plug in 3. All right, I have the square root of 3 minus 2, or 1, right? The square root of 1 is just going to be 1, equals 3 minus 4. That doesn't work because we're going to get a negative 1. The answer is going to be D. Give me a quick second to get the chat back up.
I'll give you a request for calc number 19 on the queue.
Okay. How does one acquire nerds, Darren? Just by watching, yeah. Great. Hold on, we're going to do number 10 here, and then calculator 19. Is that the next one after this?
Was it calc or no calc?
Calc 19.
Calc
Okay.
19? Okay, I'll write that in.
Thank you. All right. Question 10, conveniently right up here. We have t plus 5 over t minus 5 equals 10. What is the value of t? You could plug and chug here. This time I would not recommend it. Down here, it was actually quite simple to just plug in these numbers and solve for it without trying to go through and solve that equation. And even if you did solve this equation, you want to do what we call a sanity check, which means you plug in the values that you find to make sure that it works. Meaning you're going to end up probably plugging in values anyway. Up here, though, let's go ahead and look at this. T plus 5, I'm going to rewrite it. And we want to know, yeah, we're just trying to find t. All right. Quick, simple way. I want to get t and multiply it over. I don't want a t, the variable, in the denominator. I'm just isolating for t now. All right, bring this over, bring this over. I get negative 9t equals negative 55. Negative and negative make a positive. T equals 55 over 9. Let me know if that was too quick, not clear. Really all you're trying to do here is isolate t. You don't really want to try to focus too much about having a t plus something and a t minus something on the bottom. You don't want to, you know, they're making it the same value with a plus and minus to trick you, try to throw you off. You want to isolate, get rid of, anytime you have a variable in the denominator, you want to get it out of there. All right, you gonna do the next one, Brady?
Absolutely.
Calc 19.
Calc 19. Let's go to that one.
So we're in non-calculator right now, so you're gonna have to fast forward a bit.
Jeez. Oh man. Here we are.
Let me switch you so I can wipe this off.
Yeah, why not? Calc 19.
There
There we
you
go. Very good.
Good.
All right. If 3p minus 2 is greater than or equal to 1,
Let me cross these
what
off and
is
walk
the
off for you.
least possible value of 3p plus 2? Very interesting. Okay. I am going to solve this inequality for p. And I'll show you right after that there's actually a faster way. So we have 3p minus 2 is greater than or equal to 1. What college are you guys from? We have it down below the video. You can solve an inequality just like an equation. The only difference is if you ever find yourself multiplying or dividing by a negative number, the inequality sign needs to switch directions. Otherwise, though, whatever you do to one side, you do to the other side. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. We're going to get 3p is greater than or equal to 3. And I'm going to divide both sides by 3. So p is greater than or equal to 1. So the smallest value that p can be is 1. Otherwise, p has to be bigger than that. So now let's go to, we're looking for the least possible value of 3p plus 2. If we want 3p plus 2 to be as small as possible, we want to use the smallest possible value of p that we can get. And right here, it tells us that 1 is the smallest that p could ever be. So I'm going to use 1 for our p right here. So 3p plus 2, using the fact that our p is going to be 1. It's going to be 3 times 1 plus 2, which is going to give us 3 plus 2, which is 5. I apologize. I am so congested. It's like that commercial with the bee and Antonio Banderas, I think. Another way you could do this is you could think about what gets you from 3p minus 2 to 3p plus 2. What do you have to add to this first expression to be able to turn it into the bottom expression? If you add 4, then you will get this side to become 3p plus 2. Because right now your constant is negative 2. If you add 4, you're going to bump it up to positive 2. So you just add 4 to both sides. And then the 1 plus 4 is going to give you 5. But I'd say a more general way of doing it is finding what p is going to be equal to, at least in terms of the inequality. Do you recommend plugging in for this problem? Well, this would be a tricky one to plug in because you'd have to sort of back solve for p and see if it's even allowed. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, back solving.
You'd have to back, yeah. This would be kind of tricky to move backwards because you're trying to figure out if anything less than 5 is even possible. And the only way that you can do that is to first figure out what your restriction on p is. So I would say probably try to go top down and find what your smallest value of p is in the first place would be, I think, the safer way to go here. So we also have a request for number 34 on the calc. All right, so now ask me any questions about that. If anything confused you there, do my cues later since I gotta go. KM1892, it's been a pleasure. We're gonna go to 29. And please let me know.
29 and 34 were both KM.
No calc number 6. Oh, I see. Okay, 29 and 34.
No calc number 6.
No calc number 6. All right, we're gonna go on. I have to go backwards.
I can do that one if you'd like.
Am I still in calc?
Do you still want this even?
Depends what it is. No calc number 6.
Which one?
Oh, okay. Levi, you mind if I sneak this one?
You do it?
I will have to leave earlier than you guys.
Oh, which one is it though?
It's this one. It's the n minus b.
Oh, that's so fun though.
I know, which is why I want to do it.
Fine.
Right?
Fine.
Okay,
Here,
thank
I'll
you.
just do it so you guys don't have to argue about it.
Oh, wow, thanks.
Oh.
What a gentleman, Brendan. Okay. So if a minus b over b is equal to 3 over 7, which of the following must also be true? And they give us some answers. Nope, that's not what I wanted. They give us some answers that are, some of them are a over b, and some of them are a plus b over b, and some are a minus 2b over b. So what I'm going to do here is I want to get us out of where we are. We're right now at a fraction equal to a fraction, and if you ever find yourself in that situation, you can always cross multiply to get yourself out of there, okay? So I'm going to cross multiply this right here. Cross multiplying, remember, like we have a proportion. It's going to be this thing times that thing is going to be set equal to this thing times that thing. So we have, down here, 7 times a minus b is going to be set equal to 3 times b. I'm going to distribute the 7, get some a's and b's flying around here, is equal to 3b. Now, I see that some of our answers, I know I sound disgusting. I don't feel that great.
You look good,
but I
though.
look phenomenal. Oh my gosh. Look at, I mean, the
Look
shirt.
at you.
I got like track pants
Like a
on.
SpongeBob.
I at least look comfortable. You can't say that I don't look comfortable, and I feel very comfortable, just very congested. I think that if I get the B's together, something might happen. That's my hunch here. So I'm going to add 7b over to the other side here. You want to hold this for a second?
Combining like terms, I see.
I think I want to combine like terms.
Okay.
Yeah. I might be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I will be the first to say that I was wrong. All right. 7a is going to be equal to 10b. Now we're actually quite close to some of our answers here, which is a over b. For these answers, you don't need to solve for a, and you don't need to solve for b. What you need to solve for is a over b, which is like a totally separate quantity. But you don't need to know what a and b are individually, is what I'm trying to say. So if I want to turn this into a over b, which I can do, I'm going to first need to get rid of this 7, because I want to just solve this thing for a. So I'm going to divide both sides by 7. The 7 is going to go away. So I now have a is equal to 10b over 7. If I just divide both sides by the b is going to slide under that a really easily. And he'll be safe, like baseball. So I'm going to divide both sides. You guys know, like baseball. I'm going to divide both sides by b.
That was an amazing segue that you just did.
It's now going. Oh,
good.
no, I'm writing over the text. I'm going to get rid of these b's now by dividing. So, as it turns out, a over b is 10 over 7. Let me get this up a little higher. A over b is 10 over 7. You got another way to do that?
No, but Amber Muffin does.
I do.
Hey,
know.
already
Hey,
give
I
you
Crush
B.
James. I Crush James, you're next.
Ah,
Comic
very
Fanboys is next.
interesting. Very
Do you know the
interesting.
way Amber's talking about?
Yes.
I do.
That's
I
what
do.
Okay.
You want
You
to
got
do
it?
it? I can
Oh,
do
you
it.
can do it. You
I
can
can
do
do
it.
it. Fine. I'll do it. Fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
All right.
Okay.
Make some space. Let me erase that for you.
You know what? I could do it over here. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so what Amber Muffin is saying is 3/7. It's probably a simplified fraction, but it might. But we can treat it like it actually is 3 over 7. Like this also could be 30 over 70, but we're not going to worry about that. We're going to pretend that the top of this fraction, a minus b, is literally 3, and the bottom right here, which is just b, is literally 7.
I'm going to move the test up for you.
Yeah, go for it. That'd be kind of fun.
And then I'll erase this for you.
Okay, thank you. So if that were to be true, aloha. That's right. Yes. Mahalo, right? And ohana means family.
Yes.
That's
Lilo and Stitch.
Lilo and Stitch, right? That means no one gets left behind. That's what the other part of the preview was.
Matata?
No. We're still talking Lilo and Stitch. So we had a minus b over b is equal to 3 over 7. So I'm just going to take this at face value. B is equal to 7. If b is equal to 7, let's see what the top would be. I now know this value. So I originally had a minus b is equal to 3, but now I'm going to say I know what b is. B is apparently 7. So if a minus 7 is equal to 3, this is just incorrect. No, you. You guys can... Oh, the best Disney show of all time. I don't think that's true. I'm going to add 7 to both sides. A is equal to 10. So now you just go through your answers and figure out which one of those answers is going to be consistent with A being 10 and B equaling 7. Which in this case, B would be consistent with that. Yeah. Yes. I checked the QAS. The answer is Lilo and Stitch. Yes. And I was actually, you go from A and 10, B and 7.
No, talking about the funniest Disney show.
No, right. No, but actually the answer to this question is Lilo and Stitch. I was gonna show them how you get there. Yeah, right. Lilo and Stitch. You know what? I wanted that movie. This is a really stupid tangent, but my dad used to go to China for business, and he'd get all these bootleg DVDs back when DVDs were a thing. And I was a little kid. I'm like, Dad, I never saw Lilo and Stitch in theaters. Please get me Lilo and Stitch. And he comes back. He's like, I think I got it. And it turns out it's a DVD of like a boy band, and on the cover they're just with the cartoon animated version of Lilo and Stitch, but it's like this Asian boy band. And I was like, Dad, this isn't Lilo and Stitch. It was like a concert that they had or something.
K-pop? J-pop?
I don't know. I mean, probably with C-pop, but I'm not sure. But I was really let down by that.
You can go over fanboys.
That's
for
very
iCrush?
sad. Yeah, I crushed it. This is you. You have never seen Lilo and Stitch?
Never.
Really?
No.
That's super disappointing. That was good marketing. Yeah.
The movies it isn't.
Okay. iCrush, comma fanboys. There is only one use of them, and it is to separate independent clauses. Always. So it's got to be independent clause, comma fanboys, independent clause, and then you finish the sentence. Comma fanboys stands for comma for and nor but or yet. So, oy, gosh. I don't know what I was trying to do
What
there.
angle are you writing on, bud?
I was just trying to be cool and like kind of finish it with a flurry, and I paid the
Flourish?
consequences.
Flurry is snow.
Yeah, flourish, sorry. Well, no, flurry, like, yeah, no, you're right. That was just misused.
Wow, I never get him with words.
Yeah, that's very true. No, I feel bad. I do feel bad.
Feel good.
Thanks, I feel better now. 2 independent clauses. So let's come up with some independent clauses. Braid,
Yeah, man.
give me an independent clause. Stay
All right.
there, don't come up here. Absolutely not.
I stand up to think. So let's say the businessman brought home his son the wrong DVD.
The man mistaken. Give me something shorter, dude.
The man had a bad DVD.
The man had a bad DVD. Is there a way to do this that isn't going to be...
Yeah, I got that.
You got it. The man... What was it?
Had a bad DVD.
Had a bad DVD. That is an independent clause. Lovely. And then we're going to say... this is not what I wanted either. This maybe? Okay, and what's a sentence that could also be said that's related to this?
The boy was sad.
The boy was sad. Okay, we want to relate these two, and we could, certainly put a period here. Where are all the pinks? Guys, you take the pink markers?
No, they all fell. There's one by your foot, your left foot.
Ay. Let's say, comma, so. The man had a bad DVD, so the boy was sad. It's kind of weird, it's a little bit vague, but independent clause here. And independent clause here. Separated by a comma fanboys. You could use the other ones, they just have to make sense in context. So you probably wouldn't say the man had a bad DVD, nor the boy was sad. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, thank you. Was that Brendan? Yeah, that's helpful. Okay, this is how you do it. You could also use a semicolon here. You could use a colon here, or you could use a period. Does that help, looking at these things in order like that? Probably not at all. That's probably super unhelpful. But these are the 4 ways. Period, colon, semicolon, and comma fanboys are the 4 and the only 4 ways to separate 2 independent clauses. And I said this I think a little bit earlier, if you see any of these ways, if you see any of the comma fanboys, semicolon, colon, or period, you are dealing with independent clauses. Look for your independent clauses. Look for subject and verb and see what needs to happen. Okay, iCrush Dreams, what if you had something like, the man had a bad DVD, however, the boy was happy? I wish I could write all that out, but everybody just look at the chat. This way, that's not a coordinating conjunction. So these are the 7 coordinating conjunctions right here. Those are the only ways that you can separate 2 independent clauses with a comma. So it's got to be comma fanboys. If it is not, if it is comma however or comma therefore or comma although, that is not allowed because it's not good enough. You need comma, coordinating conjunctions, comma Coco, comma fanboys. Okay? Those are the only choices. If you wanted to use however there, yes, there. However is a ka? I don't know what a ka is, but maybe. Could be. You can say however, but then you would maybe use a semicolon. So, iCrush, in your sentence that you wrote in the chat there, if you put a semicolon before however, then however is just part of the second independent clause, and you have the man had a bad DVD, however the boy was happy. But you need that semicolon, because that's what's actually separating the two independent clauses, not comma however, because that's not a structure that works. Okay? Coordinating adverb. Are these adverbs?
They're conjunctions.
I think they're conjunctions. I don't think they're adverbs.
Well, no. The however is.
Oh, however. Yeah, but you can't do that. Yes. Okay, sorry. That's what Amber was saying. Yes, it's a coordinating adverb, not a coordinating conjunction. I understand you now, Amber. Amber, you have not asked a question in like 5 minutes, so you should ask a question. Come on. I'm disappointed. I'm not actually disappointed. But I'm disappointed in chat as a whole for not asking more questions.
I'm disappointed.
Brandon's disappointed as well.
Amber's burnt out.
Are you now?
No, she's not. No, you are not, whoever you are.
We're not. So another math problem we had us on here. Blue Ninja, you're right. That is the face to be made. Oh, as if I'm... Got it. Took me a second. Ooh,
Sorry.
we need a fan down here.
I got you, Chief. Give me a minute. Yes, Pink. We will be very proud of you if you ask a question.
Ooh.
If you don't, it's very much dependent on whether or not
Now,
you
hold
ask a
on. Was
question. We
that
love
one
you.
of those, like, calling us champ kind of things? Like, hey, yeah, all right, champ. Or was it like... 'cause I feel like that could be like... It's when you're like, you don't like someone, you're like, all right, champ, you know, whatever. And maybe that's why they called us.
Amber's got a good
All right,
question.
chief.
Oh, no.
All right. No calc 13, we'll add that. Regended? I don't know. Like ranged with the E and the I and the G messed up, but where can you find the SAT test? Right below. If you're on mobile, you're gonna have to go to info and then down. It's either on our concept calendar or it's linked down right below us.
Yeah, just, somebody asks a question, then you can ask another question. Just do it that way. We'll
all right.
ignore you if you start
We have a
asking too many.
question, and I think it was answered in the Discord. Maybe not both of them. Anyway, I like this one because there's an easier, quick way to do it that I don't know if everybody sees. 9ax plus 9b minus
Is this
6
another coefficient
equals
problem?
21. No, it's not.
It's not. Okay.
Based on the above equation, what is... Find ax plus b. And they give us 5... Wait. No, not 5. 3, 6, 8, and like 12 or something. The way to go about solving this, there's a number of ways. The way I like to do it, I see that we actually have an ax plus b right here. We have 9s, but I don't really care yet. And it's actually pretty nice that they're the same. I'm going to have to write down below this now. That was a bummer.
9s.
What I want to do, thank you, Brady. I'm going to pull out the 9, and I'm going to get ax plus b. All right, then minus 6 equals 21. We're going to add that over. 9ax plus b equals 27. From here, I'm going to choose a different marker that's not as squeaky. I'll keep the color the same. From here, we divide by 9, and I get ax plus b equals 3.
What? Crazy.
Yeah. The big thing here we talk about all the time is recognition. You want to recognize that you actually are able to use the reverse distribution property, right? Use the distribution property here, or distributive property, and pull out the 9 and get what you're looking for, right? You treat this whole thing here as its own variable, right? We can treat this as y, and then 9y minus 6 is this. Solve that way, and you get what you want, get what you need. Great. No calculator 13?
Yeah, I can pull that up.
Mm-hmm.
It might lag.
I think Amber Muffin posted a question in the Discord.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
But it's one of the questions that we've done, like, a lot.
Okay. As long as it's not a BPL, we're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all right. 15. Oh, okay. It's always fun seeing what it's going to be.
I can do this one.
Okay.
I'll do this real quick. Okay, who asked this question? I forget.
If this is no
Oh,
calc
this
15?
was exec. Right?
Yeah,
Exec ration. That's what it is. Executive ration.
sure.
Okay.
Do you want to go over it?
Yeah,
I'll get
yeah,
out of the
yeah.
way.
We have these two functions. We have f of x and we have g of x. Oh, no calc 15. Wait.
Yeah, that's 15 right there on your right.
Oh, 15. Wait, didn't it say 13 though?
There's a couple of them. Yeah, either of them.
Do you want 13? Exec. If not, then I'm not going to do it. I'll do the other one. But I don't want to do this if you don't want me to do this. Understand?
They said both, so just do anything.
Did? Did they? Where?
Okay, 13 up top.
Yeah, no,
15
I
down
know.
below.
And then I thought they said no. And then,
As in the no
like-
calculator.
oh, got it. I thought it was like, no, do calc 15. Anyway, I did.
Don't look
Okay.
behind the smoke and mirrors.
Oh, shoot.
We'll get there later.
Yeah. We have these two functions, f of x and g of x, and we're looking for them intersecting at negative k0 and k0. What is the value of k? This problem can get a lot more complicated if you're thinking of x-intercepts and all that, and that's fine. They both intersect the x-axis at the same place because actually f of x equals negative g of x. They're basically the same function. They're just flipped. So there are many ways you could do this. You could find the x-intercepts of f of x. You could find the x-intercepts of g of x. You could set f of x equal to g of x because they intersect at the x-intercepts. There are a bunch of ways to do this. I'm going to do it, I'll do it real quick. So let's say we're going to set f of x equal to g of x. Let's do that one first. F of x equals g of x. Which means, what do we got? Which test? Oh, Amber, this test is down below. This is the no calculator number 13 on the SAT number 4. F of x equals g of x. That's what we're going to do. So, oh, that's very simple actually. We have 8x squared minus 2 equals negative 8x squared plus 2. Lovely. Let's now combine like terms. So we're going to add 8x to both sides. 8x squared, sorry. We get 16x squared, and I'm going to add 2 to both sides as well. So 16x squared equals 4. Let's divide both sides by 16. We get x squared equals, I'm going to, what's the word I want? Simplify that. Starts with an R, maybe. Equals 1/4. Now we take the square root of both, and we get x equals positive or negative, as we talked about before with Birdie on stream, actually.
Correct.
Equal. Oh, no, it doesn't equal the square root. Thank you. You saved me.
That's why I'm here.
Equals positive or negative 1/2, which means that k equals 1/2. Or negative 1/2, I guess. Technically, it's either one, I think. You can factor it. Yeah, you can do that too. Is it B? Yes, it is B. So iCrush, you are talking about the other, or one of the other ways that you can do this one, where you know that they intersect at the x-axis. So that means you can just find the x-intercepts of both because they only have 2. In which case you just solve for x. You set f of x or you set g of x equal to 0 and factor from there. I'm not going to do that way. I'm going to let Braid do 15. You want to do 15?
Sure.
Where are your markers?
Get in my pocket.
Oh, well then use those.
I like your markers, though.
No, you don't like
Wait.
my markers.
My markers are not in my pocket.
Oh, well, you gotta go get them.
I got them.
You got them?
Yeah.
Okay, come here. We're doing number 15. You got your markers.
I got my markers.
Do you need anything else?
Like a tissue markers.
Nah.
You guys think you need less time to study the
Markers.
subject test? Do you guys think you need less time to study for the subject test than the actual SAT? Depends on the subject test. There are some very difficult ones and some ones that are not as difficult. Also, depending on the class that you took in preparation for them. AP Physics before the physics test is a great class to take before that subject test. But if you've never taken physics or only like freshman year physics, you got to do some reviewing, and there's also some stuff you probably didn't see in freshman year physics that's on that test.
In a word, maybe.
Yeah, it depends. It's just, all right. So 18?
No, 15, and then we'll go to
15. Okay. In the quadratic equation above, k and p are constants. What is the solution for x? What are the solutions for x? Fantastic. All right, so you take a look at your options. What are all your guys' names? I'm Brady.
I'm Brent. No,
Get up
I'm
here.
Levi.
I'm Brendan.
Hey, bring out the milk, dude.
Brennan, don't bring that on stream.
This is a no milk zone.
No milk.
I'm snacking on the side. I'm Brendan.
All right, so
Milkman.
take a look at your options here. Recognition. I don't usually say it, but I think Levi's really got a good point here. These look just like the quadratic formula was done. Like somebody was here and they did the quadratic formula and then they spurted out a big cloud of ink and then disappeared like a squid. So we're going to assume that we have to do the quadratic formula here. And we probably do because we have an x squared and an x term. So we have a quadratic situation. So if you're ever solving for a quadratic solution, you want to make sure that the quadratic equation you have is first put in standard form, which means everything's on one side set equal to 0. So I have to move this 2p over first by subtracting 2p. So I'm gonna do that over here. I'm gonna do that right over here. So we're gonna have, we have x squared. This is not gonna be enough space. I'm gonna over here. Sorry, changed my mind. So much more space. We have x squared minus k over 2, x, and then minus 2p, because I subtracted 2p from both sides to get this set equal to 0. So when you've got to this point, you should label what your a, your b, and your c value are before you just dive right into quadratic formula. So our a value is just going to be 1 because that's the coefficient of x squared. Our b value is negative k over 2. And our c value is negative 2p. Interesting. So our b's and c's are going to have, is the quadratic equation given? No, it is not. No, it is not. That is something that you must give yourself. And there's a couple different songs that you can learn. Should I sing one?
Yeah,
I'll do it. It's going to be great because I'm so congested. All right, so you guys can either get Pop Goes the Weasel or, I'll tell you in a sec, Pop Goes the Weasel or Frere Jacques, which one?
Frere Jacques.
Okay.
Down goes the weasel.
Well, you guys can't agree on
Can you
anything.
do them both simultaneously?
No, I can't. That's impossible. So there's
That attitude.
x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All over 2a. I said it twice because that's the song, but don't actually put it over 2a 2 times. And then there's also, I won't do the other one, that's enough. Go look on YouTube, there's plenty of minus b's that you can watch for videos. So, here we go. We have minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. The square root? Yeah. I love taking the square root. So minus b is going to be the opposite of b, which is negative k over 2, but the opposite of that is positive k over 2. So let me just get rid of that guy right there. Send that b back to its hive, if you know what I mean. Oh, jeez. All right. It's going to be k over 2. B squared is going to be negative k over 2 squared. You know what? I'm just going to rewrite this with the appropriate things. Plus or minus the square root of, we have negative k over 2 squared minus 4 times a times negative 2p. And all of that is over 2a, which is just 1. 2 times 1 is just 2. All right, so let's get into this. We're going to square this, and we're going to distribute the 4 to both of these things. So our next line is going to look like this. K over 2 plus or minus the square root of k squared over 4. This is going to be minus 4 times a negative number, so it's going to become positive, which is going to be plus 8p all over 2. Now, one thing you could do straight from here that'll narrow it down, your answers, is take a look at what you have for your k values in the beginning. You have k over 4, k over 4, k over 2, and k over 2. Let's think about what's going to happen to this k over 2. K over 2 is in the numerator. It still has yet to be divided by 2. So that's definitely going to happen to it. So if you take k over 2 and you divide it by 2, you're going to get k over 4. K over 2 divided by 2 is like divided by 2 over 1, which becomes times the reciprocal times 1/2 is equal to k over 4. So I know it's either going to be a or b because we want a k over 4 in the end. So I'm going to get rid of d, it's gone, and c. Kind of a weird way to cross them out. All right, so from here, this is where things get fun. You take a look at what's underneath the radicals for our two potential answers. We have k squared plus 2p and k squared plus 32p. They got rid of the fraction underneath the inside the radical. This over 4. We need to get rid of that somehow and just simplify what this is. So in order to add fractions, you want to turn both your terms into fractions over the same denominator. K squared is already over 4. 8p is not, however. So I'm going to turn that into a fraction over 4. And the way to do that is to multiply it by 4 over 4. So I'm going to squeeze in times 4 over 4. And that's going to turn this into 32p over 4. And then it's all going to be one fraction. I'm going to resume this over here. So we're going to get k over 2 plus or minus the square root of, we have b squared, sorry, k squared plus 32 plus 32p, and that's all over 4, and that's all over 2. So when you take a square root of a fraction, you're taking the square root of the top and the square root of the bottom. And the square root of over 4 can actually be taken here. So I can take the square root of 4, and that turns into 2, which means this square root is now only applied to the top, because I've successfully taken the square root of the bottom number. So we're getting really close here. Both these fractions up top are over 2. When you divide them both by another 2, they're both going to turn into over 4. So that leaves you with k over 4 plus or minus the square root of k squared plus 32p over 4. And that is going to be a. That's a long one. Any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, we'll give it to someone else. Maybe Levi, maybe Brendan.
Yeah, I'll go on to
Execration, it's on the house, don't worry. I don't want to give you these.
Nope.
Yeah, here, I'll use my sick rag.
your sick rag.
Yeah,
Okay, start that.
so sick.
Going to number 18 now. Oh, there it
X
is.
is equal to negative
Actually,
b.
hold on. Let me spiel while we're doing this. All right, great. For those of you who don't know, if you click enter or ticket, you should get a ticket and be entered into our giveaway, and that is for a free session to work with Levi on your college app essay. So it's for seniors only. You don't have to have your essay all the way fleshed out. Yeah, to
Yeah.
win.
There's all sorts of other things that you can tell them.
Yeah, we
tutor.
We tutor. We do this for free 5 nights a week. Normally, this is a cram sessions this week, so we're doing it for 6 nights, and we're doing it a little longer. We also tutor on our own time for not free.
Yes, that is the price, not free.
For not free, that's all down below. If you're interested, if
That's
not, keep
Maybe
watching
too
for free.
expensive.
Yeah, forget it.
Yeah, and if not, that's why we do this anyway. We have Facebook links down below. We have a YouTube channel. We need to get more people on. We need to also put more stuff about that on our page here.
I have to sneeze. I will leave now.
Oh gosh, he's sick. Yeah.
Put my thingy in the queue. Robot Dancer, where was your thingy?
Was your question in the Discord?
It may have just got put
It
in the
might have just put
Discord.
in there.
Okay,
Um,
I'm going to do number 18, and then we'll probably get to Robot Dancer. A please might suffice.
Yeah.
Okay, number 18. This is for, I think, exec. Number 18 is right up here. We have x cubed minus, I don't like that. I want to write it here again. So we have x cubed minus 5x squared plus 2x minus 10 equals 0 plus 2x minus 10 equals 0. And then it wants to know the answer. It wants us to solve for x. Yes, solve for x. Okay, a couple things you can do. Realize that this is technically a function, right? F of x equals that. So this is, this is no calculator, right? So you cannot use a calculator.
Ooh, but
Factored by grouping.
Yeah, no, I'm going to factor by grouping. But I was just wondering if maybe you could use a calculator. Do you guys have any way to master the writing portion grammar rules? I'm currently using UWorld. Yeah. Well, we have.
do we have
the rules.
resources like that? No, not necessarily. We have great pieces of advice for how to do that. I
Yeah,
know
we
you
can get to that next, possibly, or
So-
after Robot Dancer and iCrush. If you want to know the rules for the commas, and then independent clauses, semicolons, colons, parentheses, dashes, apostrophes, I think that's it. Yeah. Okay, let's do this. We're going to factor by grouping. This is, I think, the only way to do this problem, aside from plugging in. I can't think of another way to do it aside from just guessing. in this case, we're going to take this piece, and we're going to take this piece. If you look at the coefficients, we have essentially 1 and 5, and we have 2 and 10, which are factors of each other. So this actually works out nicely. We're going to factor out the greatest common factor of x cubed and 5x squared, which is x squared. We pull out the x squared, we get x minus 5. Plus, we're going to pull out the greatest common factor of these two, which is 2. We get x minus 5. Oh, look at that. And now we're going to pull out the greatest common factor of these two. Wait, let's see. Be more than happy to hear your advice. Ah, great,
Yep.
okay.
Do you need this space? I'm going to go ahead and write up the next question. 'cause
No,
it's
I do
on
not.
here.
I do not
Thanks.
at all. Here, we're going to factor out the x minus 5. We get x minus 5 factored out from this will give us x squared plus 2 equals 0. Now we know that, well, we have this. We're going to set this equal to 0, so we have x minus 5 equals 0, which gives us x equals 5. We also have x squared plus 2 equals 0, which means that x squared equals negative 2, which means that x equals, we take the square root of both sides, and we get an unreal or a non-real value for x. And the question specifically says for what real value of the equation, or for what real value of x is the above equation true, which means that this is our only answer that we can use because it's the only real value of x. 5 is the answer. Was that exact? Does that make sense to you? If not, I will explain again. I'm really trying to think hard about another way to do this that doesn't require you to know factor by grouping. But ideally, you can graph it. You could possibly... I like plugging in 0 and saying, okay, well, if x is 0, then y is negative 10. So you plot that point, and then x is 1, and you get whatever that is, and you see that it's climbing closer and closer to the x-axis, and then you get to around 5. But that's not as good as this, of course. I'm done here if you want to pick up.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, for this question we have, it's plant growth, talking about how many plants will grow in a given space. You have that the n of this is this year, n of next is next year, and they're saying that this year you start with 3,000 plants. K is the total number of plants that can fit in a given space, and they give you that as 4,000. They say, how many plants will you have in 2 years? Hopefully you're familiar with this syntax. If not, I'll walk through it. You have the number of plants for next year equals the number of plants you have starting this year, plus 0.2 or 20% of the plants you have this year, multiplied by 1 minus the number of plants you have this year, divided by the total number of plants possible to fit in this space. It's pretty straightforward how to do this. It's just kind of long. So we're going to say n next, or n of 1 year later, is going to equal 3,000. Can I slowly scoot over here?
Yeah, I'm done.
Thanks. Plus 0.2 times 3,000 times 1 minus 3,000 over 4,000. That's just boom, 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 3 over 4, meaning you have 0.25 here. I believe this is, yes, this is in the calculator section, meaning you plug this in, you get, what is that, 3,000 times 0.2 times, it's 25%. You get that n of 1 year equals 3,150. From here, what you want to do is run this through again, except this is now this, and your next year is going to be n of 2 because you want it 2 years later. Your number ends up being like 3,280 something. You don't just double this number you get, because you're multiplying, you have a different number to start with, you're multiplying it by 20% now instead of 3,000, and you're not going to be quite at 3/4 here. It's going to be 3,150 over 4,000, and it's going to change it. So it's not just going to be 3,300. Okay, there's a couple questions I wanted to hit on.
I'm going to start writing up iCrush's sentence because it'll take a bit.
Okay, I kind of want to go over how and what to practice for the English. I think if there are lots of resources out there, lots that are free, lots that are paid, I think whatever works for you works for you. I know that there's tons of help on the Reddit Discord, in terms of other students who have tried many more products than we could have possibly tried, and can tell you what worked for them and what didn't. I think this is for exec. But one thing we've had our students do before when practicing the English section or practicing for the English and writing and language, is to actually go through a reading passage you have already done and mark everything you can in there. That means an independent clause, dependent clause, non-essentials, really everything, right? Why they used a comma, right? Commas, semicolons, right? Colons. Why did they use these? When did they use them? What were they joining, separating, right? If you go through and read through it, those are never going to have bad grammar, right? Or else they wouldn't put it on the test. Meaning you have extra practice to go and identify independent, dependent clauses, non-essentials, and other things that aren't only going to be in the English or writing section. It's effectively more free practice. I would recommend getting an ACT English book for the Amazon because it goes more in depth than the SAT writing. There you go.
Stall. I'm not done.
Transitions. For tone, I can't remember who asked that. For tone, I think they said, is it, what choice fits best in the sentence? It's not a vocab and context question. You're not just trying to fit what word best fits that sentence. Ideally, they all fit in terms of the meaning of the word. You're trying to see which one matches what they've been talking about. If it is a dissertation, a scientific dissertation, and they're talking about their results, they're not going to say these results were awesome, right? They might say these results bode well for experiments in the future or research going forward, but they're not going to say, oh yeah, this was fantastic, this was great. It's a matter of seeing certain words throughout the passage that you can kind of key off on. So I'm trying to think. There's one specific passage where the correct answer was a much more relaxed answer. The tone was way more laid back than normal. And there are a few words throughout the passage that led you to that conclusion. Hopefully that answers the tone question. Do you have anything else to add there? Probably.
Tone is hard. It's more about recognition than anything else. If you don't realize you're doing a tone question, it's hard to tell the difference between the answer choices. Mm-hmm. You always start with grammar because that's number one. That's the most common question type, as long as they're not asking you a direct question about do we put this thing in here or not. So if they're not asking you a question, it's just no change and then other stuff. Check grammar and punctuation first. It's clarity. Then you move to redundancy. Is it being redundant? Are you saying things multiple times? Are you not being concise? And also, are you not being specific enough? And then you move to
you only get one.
And then the third one would be tone. So you have to work through that. If you can't figure out what's wrong grammatically, maybe there's nothing wrong grammatically. Caved to requests versus loosened up to requests. Yes, that's a great example. Those are pretty close. I would say caved. Caved is a little bit more formal, would be my guess. Loosened up. I think often if you have a verb that's followed by a preposition and that preposition doesn't have a whole phrase with it, like loosened up or chill out.
Caved is wrong.
Caved is wrong.
Well, we also don't know what context we're talking about.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah. I mean, generally you want to be formal, but if the passage is informal, then the informal one makes more sense. I want to do this one. I forget who this was. iCrush. iCrush. This is for you.
I'm gonna go sit down.
So, in this case, actually, could you not? Could you?
Oh.
Could you write this? Could you write the answer choices?
All right. Brendan's getting to be useful.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Yes, you
Probably
are.
43.
Whoa.
Stop it.
Sorry.
We're not going there.
Yeah, I didn't mean to.
Yeah, you did.
Passage
I just don't
formal.
believe you.
Yeah, I don't know. iCrush. If it wasn't an official one, then yeah. Yeah, it's not great.
Nope.
Okay, so this is iCrush's question in the Discord if you want to look at it. Brendan is writing up the answer choices. Here's what you need for this. So consumers so we have a comma here, so that's important even though it's not underlined. We have though and as a result, which are both transitional words. So that's very important. Do we have a colon in any of these, or a semicolon?
There's
Yes,
a colon
we have
on
a
this
colon.
next one.
In C, what Brendan's writing right now, we have a colon. That's where we want to start because,
Don't
as I
make me
said
rush.
before, it just has a rule. Follow the rule. If it doesn't follow the rule, then is wrong. And the colon is after the word though. What we need to check is, do we have an independent clause before the colon? Let's see. Consumers are not the only ones for whom solar is a win-win, though. Yes, that is an independent clause. You can say though at the end of the sentence. So I like that the colon is correct. It doesn't mean that C is the right answer, but the colon is not used incorrectly. Amber Muffin, you gotta, was that,
Stop.
okay, I don't know why, maybe, what is IC? No, okay. Oh, that's robot, okay.
Yeah.
IC.
It was right after.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Mhm.
Independent clause. Which is a subject and verb. And the can be a sentence. Can be a sentence by itself.
Man.
Yes, sir.
Okay, looks like we have a number of viewers right now. If any of you are seniors, go ahead and type in enter a ticket to be put into our giveaway to work with Levi for a free session of Essay Revisions, college app Essay Revisions. Great. Also, if you're new, feel free to just ask us questions. That's what we're here for. Ask us anything and everything having to do with the test. You can ask us specific questions in the Discord, in the chat, anything. All right.
Okay.
Sorry.
Let's finish this up. So I like this the colon. That's good. Now, do we want to say D with a dash? Actually, no. Let's start with no change. Here, we have two. We definitely have an independent clause before though, and then let's see what's coming after because we only checked the first part. The second part. After though, we have as a result of their own efforts, industry employees can do stuff. I changed it because I didn't want to write 20 more words in this sentence. But here's, let's use
Yes.
pink. Yeah, pink is fine. Can do stuff. So this is our verb in the second part, and this is our subject in our second part. The second part is actually a full sentence. We have, as a result of their own efforts, industry employees can do stuff. So we have two independent clauses. Because we have two independent clauses, we have to separate them the right way. In this case, we actually don't have anything because we have a comma and though, and maybe that's confusing. We'll get to that. But this is where the break is, and we have nothing. So we just have an independent clause plus an independent clause, which is no good. So
Ooh, look at Lemonade being a team player.
A is wrong. Wow. Lemonade.
Wow.
Lemonade. Respond to my message, okay?
If you want, you did get drawn the other day.
You won, and you didn't respond. So respond. I think. Maybe I forgot. Also.
All
Okay.
right.
Now we have B. Though so this is the same thing. Now in this case we have a comma after as a result, but it still doesn't matter. We don't have that good connection between the two independent clauses, and this doesn't change the second piece to be not an independent clause. So B is wrong. Now we're choosing between C and D. Do we want a colon or do we want a dash? Because we know that afterwards is a full independent clause, I think that the colon works better. Because when you use a colon, you are using one independent clause, and you're saying that, and then what comes after the colon is expanding on or describing what came before. And I like that better because there's so much after this colon. A dash does non-essentials, right? Those are positives. Because there's only one dash in this sentence, I think there's only one dash in the sentence. Let's just say there is.
Yes.
Then that means that it's still separating a non-essential from everything else, but there's only one, so that means everything before it or everything after it has to be a non-essential, which means the first part we know is an independent clause, and the second part we know is an independent clause. So it's not a great way to separate them just using a dash. Because you could maybe argue that whole independent clause afterwards is a non-essential, but it's an independent clause. So I don't like that nearly as much as C. I think C is the right answer. I think very possibly something that might trip you up in this question is though and then as a result together. So you might think that you might be used to starting a sentence with though this happens, they do stuff, and so the though might go with the second part of the sentence, but you have to be willing and malleable enough to have some connecting word or transition word part of the first part of the sentence. And that comes with time and just being willing to put things in different places and see how things sound to you. That is this one, iCrush. iCrush, if you have any questions, roger that. Cool. I got to look into colons and dashes. I seem to miss a lot more. Why a colon? It's not a description. No, it's not a description, but it doesn't have to be. That's a very common one. There's also lists afterwards. It's expanding on the idea before the colon. So that first one is the independent clause and the main idea, and then you expand on it in whatever way. So you could say, I like school, colon, I get to see all my friends. So it's sort of explaining why you like school, but it's not necessarily a description of you liking school.
Great. Do you want to go over...
Colon to elaborate on the though. The colon is not elaborating, or what comes after is not elaborating on though. This though is actually a transition word that connects this independent clause to what came before it, which I don't think is in the picture, but they're saying something, and then they say, consumers are not the only ones for whom solar is a win-win though. As a result of their own efforts, industry employees can do stuff too. Or I don't know what came after that.
Lemonade, this looks like Khan Academy. Help me out. Is this a SAT Math 2 or not? I mean, I know how to do it, but there's a number of steps that I think...
Ooh, pink has
Maybe
a no calc 17.
Yeah, sure. We can do that first.
Well, we don't have to. I'm just putting in the queue. But if I don't know if we want to do the math too.
I don't know if it is. It's just...
Can I take a look?
Yeah, I mean, it's not that difficult. I just... Just straightforward-ish. There's just a lot of steps.
A lot of steps. It's definitely harder than
I got this one.
most stuff.
Yeah, so it'd be a very challenging problem if it was on the SAT.
I think it's kind of hard to do right now because there's a lot of pieces and it might not really translate on screen.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to do 17 though?
Yeah, you mind pulling that up for me real quick?
I can pull that up for you.
It's on the practice SAT in Khan Academy. All right. I'm fine to go over it.
Right, 17.
17 on the non-calculator.
Oh, it's right there. Oh, we did this last night.
I did the same one. That's fine. I'll cover it real quickly. Who asked this?
I was pink.
Pink. If you want a more detailed explanation of this, you can check our video from last night. I will give you the quick rundown.
Yeah, although good luck finding it. It was a 2.5-hour stream, so I'm not sure where that was.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Sorry. Which one of us is the smartest?
We're all
We either all need to say like us, or we all need to say someone else, but I don't think that'll
I
work.
think my dog is the smartest.
Improbable events. Which one is used the smartest? Well,
It's a terrible question to ask us.
depends on what kind of thing you're talking about.
kind
If it's
of
about Wheel of
intelligence?
Time, I definitely have the most raw intelligence there.
But that is the only thing he's smarter with.
Okay,
Everything else
you have sine of x equals 0.6, and we're looking for cosine of y.
Brendan, you love this one.
I actually really do. Hopefully you know SOHCAHTOA. If not, this test is going to be a little rough, but that's okay. SOHCAHTOA. Sine, we're looking at the opposite leg over the hypotenuse. So if we're taking the sine of x, we're looking at this leg. So this is going to be, we'll just call it A. And the hypotenuse, we'll say B. All right? I'm going to take A over B here.
Sorry,
Alright.
real quick. Why did Pink say me?
I asked who asked it.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Glad you liked it, Improbable Events. All right, we have A over B. Now, we can label this D because I don't want to do C because then if we ever thought about doing the Pythagorean theorem, it'd just mess you up. I don't remember Improbable Events. Haha. All right, we're taking the cosine of y, which means we're
definitely
taking
not
the...
me.
It's not you at all.
I
He has
definitely have the
garbage
worst memory. I have a
memory.
really, really bad memory.
It's actually really bad. Okay,
I don't know if it's
cosine
because
of
I
y.
don't put things in my head or because I just
So the
don't
cosine
pay
of
attention
y
to
is going...
anything.
The cosine of y... Thank you. All right, cool.
You think you like that?
Yes.
The cosine of y is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. The adjacent leg is actually a over b, meaning the cosine of y is a over b. Now, I don't know what these legs are. I don't know what a is, I don't know what b is, but I know that sine of x is 0.6 and it's a over b. Cosine of y is a over b, meaning they have to be the same answer. There's a proof we could do off this, but I did it last night. Yep, just making sure they did it right. That's fine. We need to answer your questions, so it's fine.
I can do Lamoon.
Say what?
Lamoon's got a question.
Was it the one in the Discord?
No, it's another one. It's another one.
Oh, a different one? I like the one in the Discord. It looked difficult.
Oh, wait, maybe it is.
All right.
Brendan, I'll show it to you.
Does it require?
Oh, wait, we didn't go over transitions. Levi.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, sorry, Robot
What?
Dancer. I thought you were going to do it, and
My
I
bad.
got distracted.
Oh, totally my fault.
I'm glad we're blaming you for
I
this.
forgot.
His memory's horrible.
So bad.
Oh, hey, Dimdaria.
Oh shoot.
Hey, thanks for joining the chat.
Yes.
Feel free to ask us any questions about anything SAT related.
Yeah.
Um,
Can we? I'm gonna get rid of. Could you get rid of the overlay braid?
Yeah, I got
Hold
it.
on.
Yeah.
Technology.
All right. Transitions for Robot Dancer. Transition questions are about transitions between two things. It's not about how it sounds. That's the last step. But before you start using your, the idea of, okay, we'll take this answer and we'll plug it in and we'll see what sounds nice. That's your last step. And you should be doing it because you're good at English, probably because you've been speaking it and reading it. You've been speaking it most of your life and reading it for a little bit less time than that, ideally. And reading every day, Wheel of Time, things like that.
Hey.
Yep. So what that means is your gut feeling will help you. Never let that go. But you want to point your gut feeling at the right thing. In a transition question, you are transitioning between two ideas. Identify those two ideas very, very specifically. If you don't do that, you're not giving your gut feeling enough to work with. You might still get it right, but on the harder questions that are more confusing, you have to do that. What do we got? Oh, we got more stuff like this. End of stream. Oh, yeah, okay. Do I need to answer these questions? No.
Improbable events, you're gonna like that one.
It's okay, Levi. I was listening when Brendan was cutting you off. Good.
I actually answered your question.
Be nice.
I am.
I know the rules for transitions is but oh, I remember you saying this.
Answer
Yeah.
his question.
Yeah,
Come on.
I'm doing it. But sometimes the transition is in between two commas.
Oh, there's some of the punctuation around transitions.
Okay.
However.
The basics you need to hold on to. So regardless of what other weird stuff happens, you have to have two independent clauses, and you're transitioning between those two independent clauses with a semicolon, a period, a colon, or comma fanboys. Those are the only choices you have. You can add other stuff around that. Like you can say, I like her, semicolon, although... Oh wait, not although. Therefore,
Levi got a question on there.
I talk to her. Yeah. So you can do this. You can put a comma there. You don't have to necessarily. You need the semicolon. That's the important part. If you don't have that, you're wrong. Or a period, or a colon, or comma fanboys.
Read the question.
Oh, hello, my feeble. I'm going to call you my feeble.
I think it's an L.
And Lefebvre?
Lefebvre? Okay, Lefebvre. I'm Lefebvre.
Yes.
Not sure how... Is the answer yes? I haven't read it yet.
Go ahead and read it.
Okay, very good. Not sure how this works, just came across this. Can you go over an effective way to complete a passage? Well, I don't know how this works. Like if people just ask questions
Yes,
and...
yes.
Yeah, we just ask your questions. We answer them. How do you effectively conclude a passage? Generally restating the point of the passage.
No, complete a passage.
Yeah, complete a passage.
So the conclusion.
Yeah, so it's a conclusion, right? So
I would think it's just go like how do you just what's your approach for a reading passage in general?
Oh, is it a reading passage?
That's what I would think.
M. Lefebvre, can you... Oh, I meant a reading passage. There you go, Braid. Off
Yeah.
like 4 hours of sleep. Sorry. Yeah, no
Well, we
problem.
recommend not doing it off 4 hours
Yeah,
of sleep.
don't do it off 4 hours of sleep. That would help. So sleep a lot. Do your normal thing on Friday night, unless Friday night means you do a lot of drugs and you don't sleep a lot. Don't do
Don't do
drugs
that.
and sleep a lot, right? Unless you're Brendan. Brendan,
Sleeps
Yeah.
very little.
Yeah.
But don't do drugs.
but doesn't do drugs. Yes. Okay. Finish. So completing a reading passage. Do you mean just the general approach? Because we'll get to that. Or do you mean like you can't finish in time? So specify that for me. I'll put in the thing and then we'll get to it. Okay. Robot Dancer. How do I differentiate between semicolon and commas and commons? I assume commas before transition. Just an approach. Okay. So reading approach. Okay, so robot dancer. Semicolon and comma before transitions. Commas, yeah. Okay. Yeah, no problem, Emlafed. Okay, you do not have to choose between a semicolon and a comma if they're both used correctly. So if you have this sentence versus I like her, so I talk to her. The only difference is the transition, but you have a semicolon here correctly separating two independent clauses, and you have a comma fanboys here correctly separating two independent clauses. Both are right. They would never give you both. I don't know if that answers your question necessarily. I like her, comma, therefore, comma, I need to talk to her. This is going back to the main thing. There are 4 ways to separate independent clauses. Period, semicolon, colon, and comma fanboys. If you do not have one of those 4, it is wrong. So what you wrote there, I like her, comma, therefore, comma, I talk to her, is incorrect. That is not an acceptable sentence grammatically.
It sounds fine. That's why these are hard questions, because you'd think with the therefore in there, if you say it out loud, it sounds like totally normal human speech. But grammatically, you can't do that. There needs to be a period or a semicolon right there.
Yeah, I don't know if that's clear enough. Maybe that was the issue, but you need that semicolon.
Don't get fooled by that.
You have 4 ways to separate a comma, just a comma separating them, even if you have another transition type of word like therefore isn't good enough. You need comma fanboys. The comma, however, comma was one of the answers.
Not okay.
One of the questions. What was this? One of the questions you put in the Discord? Could you maybe find?
Yes.
iCrush's question.
Absolutely. I crush. I crush. I believe it was this one.
I don't know.
Well, this was one that you already did,
Yeah, I
right?
did
Also
one.
doing stuff. It was the one that you simplified a little bit.
Are you saying that the comma, however, comma was the correct answer in a question? Because that is a possibility as long as it's not separating two independent clauses.
Yeah.
But if it is, it's wrong. Unless the test is wrong, but we're not wrong.
Yes. Yeah. If it was 2 complete sentences and that was separating both of them, that's not okay.
Yeah.
People might say it's okay. It's not.
Don't listen to
believe
those
them.
people.
Just listen to us.
Yeah.
Can we explain why?
Yes. Okay. You have 4. So you have independent clause,
Which are just complete sentences.
Yeah,
It's like
complete
the
sentences.
grammatical way of saying a complete sentence that can stand alone.
Oh, you want an example? Okay. Yeah. Sure. So
Of what that would look like. Yeah.
I like Brady. Therefore, we go to the zoo. Can you finish that
Okay. But so far we got
together?
Yeah, and this would not be okay.
This is not okay, Robot Dancer.
Always takes 2 commas.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yes, but that's
I don't, however, like the way he was looking at me, or something like
Yes.
that. Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's just a little interrupter.
you want. Oh, don't erase the whole thing.
Why?
Because so that was wrong. But I like Brady.
However late he may be to things.
No,
I think we can make it simpler. We shouldn't have the full sentence in it. Like, I, however, like Brady. Like, if someone said, none of us like Brady, which is my nightmare, then somebody says, I, however, like Brady. That would be a way to use it like that.
But then those commas are offsetting however as a non-essential. The however is not separating two independent clauses.
Amrumuffin's got it. Yes. No, we like when you don't shut up. Please
Yeah.
keep asking
Don't
us
shut up
questions. Yeah. All right.
I think Lamoon.
Robot Dancer.
Yeah.
Did that
It
make
clicked.
sense?
Yes, very good.
All right. You feel like a new human. Welcome to the other side.
Yes.
I
here we
imagine
are.
whenever a student has that like aha moment that they just like came through that weird kind of gel in the Matrix and then they're on the other side and it's like the real
And all the
world.
things pop out of their spine. and
Yes,
stuff.
I
Yeah.
always think about that. It's a
Yeah.
good thing.
Can I do Lamoons, or do you want to
I'm
do
about
it?
to leave. Can I do it?
All
you guys
right.
still have another hour.
All right.
Come on. All right, so we're going to go into Lamoon's question. We have a circle. We have a diameter going through the circle. Diameter means it must go through the center. Diameter. Okay, so this is an N, and then we have an L right here. And then it tells us that this angle in radians is 0.6. It's the appropriate pronunciation. And it also tells us the shaded area has an area of 6. So this shaded area, I'm going to use a different color. You get a reading time in a queue. I can't finish the passage in 13 minutes. Yeah, reading timing as well. Strategy or reading timing. Yep, we'll put timing right there. Okay, so the area of this thing right here has an area of 6. All right, so in radians, a circle is 2 pi. That's the total amount around a circle. So half of a circle is just pi radians. So these two sections here, one of which we know the angle of, the other which we know the area of, we know that overall their angle together must be pi, 3.14 forever radians. So this one here, I'm going to set its angle as theta. We're going to call that angle theta. And we know that theta has to be equal to pi minus 0.6, because these two angles are supplementary, so they add up to 180 / pi. We're just going to call it to pi. They add up to pi because it's a straight line. So that's the angle we have here. Now we're going to use our circle proportion, which is where you take an angle and you put it over a full circle, which is usually 360 degrees, but in this case, because it's radians, I'm going to put it over 2 pi. The proportion that an angle is over the full circle will be the same proportion that an area of a sector is over the entire circle's area. So this area of the sector is 6, and we don't know the area of the entire circle, because that would mean that we knew the radius, which we don't know. So for now, all I can put is pi r squared. My apologies. Pi r squarea is how I remember it. Pi r squarea. And now I'm going to substitute in our theta, which we are going to call pi minus 0.6. So we have to solve this proportion for r and get what r is. Squarea. Pi r squarea is the area. Yeah, it's kind of fun. Okay, so just simplifications I can see right off the bat. We have pi's in the denominator of both of these fractions. So if I just think about multiplying both sides by pi, the pi's are going to cancel out. My goal here is to get r by itself. So one thing you can do, if you have a fraction equal to a fraction, you can always cross multiply. That's one way out of it. Another thing you can do is you can just take the reciprocal of both sides at the same time. All right, it's just kind of like a whoop, where you switch everything. So this is going to be r squared over 6, and this is going to be 2 over pi minus 0.6. We're getting closer. I got to get rid of this 6. Multiply both sides by 6. That's going to give us 12 over pi minus 0.6 is equal to r squared. Last thing I have to do now is just take the square root of both sides, which undoes the squaring of r, which is going to give us r being equal to the square root of 12 over pi minus 0.6. Yeah, it's a little messy, but each one of these things, you're going to need to understand circle ratios at the least in order to get this, and also the conversion between radians to degrees and how those work. So hopefully that made sense. Just keep in mind, whatever angle you have over 360 degrees is the area of the sector you have over the area of the full circle. And in this case, instead of 360 degrees, because we're using radians, I turn that into 2 pi.
Brady, how did you find theta?
How did I find theta? Okay. Oh, she got never mind. Got it. All right. In that case, I'm out of here because I have to go tutor.
You gotta get out of here.
That's what we do. Well, you
don't put those there. Just drop them.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do reading approach. Okay. There's a lot with the reading approach. Who was asking this again? Pink? No. No.
Reading approach was.
Oh, it was
M.
Lefebvre. Yes. Reading approach in general. So the SAT is definitely very, very confusing and hard to do the reading section for. It's just, there's a lot of really painful questions in there.
Exec, we do. Actually, we do have a YouTube channel.
Yes, we do. There's some stuff there.
There's some stuff there.
A little bit of stuff
It's
there.
a little bit more fun than this, believe it or not.
Brady edits the videos, and they are
Quite hilarious.
as you would expect Brady's videos to be when he has free reign. Okay, so reading section. Each individual question type has its own approach, but in general, there are a couple different ways, and we'll get to the timing in a little bit for...
Timing was robot, I think.
Okay, we'll get to timing in a second, but you want to, let's see, for the two-part questions, read the question, the first part, and then don't answer it. Look at all the answer choices in the second part because it'll tell you how to, that's where the answers are. So if you want to know where the answers lie, look at the second part and then see what it answers in the first. And let's see. There are a lot of question type specific things. You want to do the harder questions and the broader questions last. You want to do the vocab and context first. You want to do some of the more detail-oriented questions earlier after reading the passage versus later, because it allows you to build up a better understanding of the passage before answering what it can often be the first question, which is, what is the main idea of the passage, or what is the author's main purpose of writing this passage, something like that. Those are bigger ideas, and yeah, you might get them right, but you're not as prepared because you haven't been dealing with the passage very much. You're not very familiar. More stuff. You want to start doing timing now?
Yeah, we can talk about timing on the reading. For anyone just joining, that's how you enter our giveaway to work with Levi on essay revisions for your college apps.
For free.
Yeah, for free. For the timing on the reading, there's a couple of different methods of this. I'll go over mine, and then we'll go over Levi's. We do this differently. I tend to read quite quickly, and Levi likes to take his time a little more when he reads. For me, the best way to go through and do, or if you're a quicker reader, a good way to go through it is to glance at the questions before you go into the reading passage itself and see if there are any line numbers. And if there are line numbers, it says at line 13 something, you want to go and flip back, find line 13, and put a little mark next to it. All right, then you're going to go through and do that on all the questions. You might have, 3 or 4 things marked on the passage. You go back and read, and then when you get to this part, you read it, you read the context of it, then you go and answer the question on it. Right? Then you continue on, you get to this point, go back, answer, and so on and so forth. This allows you to not have to go back and look for these. Look for them, they'll tell you where to go, but it's going to help you and stop you from having to read this part twice, or at least stop you from reading it multiple times. What else is good for the reading? The whole point of it, which Levi's going to get into here in a second, is to try to make a game of it if it's boring. And even if it's not boring, to still make a game of it in a sense and try to map out where everything is in the passage, right? You want to have a mental map by the time you've either skimmed it or read through it to know where any given part is, generally.
Yep. I think that, and then in a general approach thing, this works definitely for the writing section.
Keep going. Keep going.
Oh my gosh, stop.
Please keep going.
Yes. I lost my train of thought. Why is that so frustrating?
Timing?
Yes.
Skimming.
Timing.
His
Prove
memory's
3
garbage,
questions.
guys. Don't
Oh
do
my
this.
god, it's so bad. My train of thought
Timing,
is so
skim.
bad. Right, great. So, always prove 3 wrong. If you are focusing on getting the right answer, I honestly think that that's the wrong approach. Focus on finding the wrong answers, because if you are trying to find the right answer and you're looking at A and you don't know, it's not going to feel good. What you should be trying to do is poke holes in A. So A probably has 10 words. Make sure all of those 10 words are true. If they're all true and it answers the question, maybe it's right. It doesn't matter. Go to B. Do the same thing. If you're trying to poke holes in their logic for each answer choice, that you're not doing very much work. And hopefully you can get rid of 2 of them, or maybe even 3 of them, because they're irrelevant, or they say something contradictory, or they jumble up 2 characters and they say A likes B instead of B likes A. Things like that. You're trying to find problems in every answer, and that allows you, I think, just, if a lot of people have issues with just stress and feeling good about the reading session because it's so, the questions are super, super confusing.
Yeah.
And to deal with that, if you are working through every question and trying to get them wrong, then you're doing something good in every single question. You might end up guessing because you don't know the answer, but at least you've crossed off A and D because you know they're wrong. And you did 2 things right in a question that you had to guess on. And that, I think, feels better. And it may slow you down a little bit at first because you're doing more stuff, but it really improves your accuracy, and then you can have a better, more methodical approach that you can follow every time, regardless of the passage being hard or easy.
Remind me not to answer I Crush Dreams as questions anymore.
Okay.
Because apparently you could host the Oscars, and I'm just, I don't know, leftovers. Ouch.
Stop, iCrush.
That's funny. Okay. What websites or articles would help with reading comprehension? Books. Actual physical books. Right?
I think only the Wheel of Time will help.
Wheel of Time's so good. But it's not going to be fantastic for this. I know
No.
Some other tutors I've worked with like to do Dickens or... Yeah, I don't like Dickens. It's fine. Who else? I mean...
Sorta.
Hemingway, possibly. Oh, he's not
Yeah,
super
okay.
difficult.
Look, read what you want to read, as long as it's written in full sentences and
So not
it's at
Twitter.
the level where it's not, poorly punctuated and somebody edited it. If it's published and there's an editor involved, then it's probably good.
Probably a good bet.
I don't know what else. I mean, don't read Mein Kampf, I guess, but otherwise, I don't know. I mean, also read Mein Kampf. Maybe you'd learn something.
Yeah, I don't know. But you want to read something that is at a challenging reading level, but ideally you want to read something that is enjoyable. You want to make reading fun. If you're doing it just to get better, that's not bad, but it's going to work better if it's something you enjoy doing.
Yes, we have pontificated long enough
I'll
on
think
the
about
reading
it.
section.
Acro
If you
streams.
have any particular questions about the question types in the reading, so the two-part questions give you a headache, or the vocab and context, for whatever reason you get them wrong and you feel like you need to study more vocab, which is wrong, that type of thing. Ask those specific things. It allows you to make this section specifically, which can be super painful, at least more logical and more kind of game-oriented. It allows you to not hate everything in life when you're doing the section, if that's what's happening. If it's not, then cool. I always get stuck between two answer choices. Any tips to eliminate the last option? Yeah, but
Absolutely.
we need to do Ivan's question first.
Okay, we'll get to that in just a moment then. Ryan. We'll say Ryan.
I don't know what Ivan's question was.
Ivan, it was in the Discord. It was the one you looked at.
Yes, I had that at a time. There was a time.
Go ahead. I'm going to look at the next question potentially in the Discord.
Yes.
By Lazarou.
Yes. Ivan, where is your question, sir? Sorry, this is probably not that entertaining for you guys to watch this.
All right.
Where did Ivan's question go?
Hey, also, while we're doing this, it's in the general.
Oh.
If you are a senior, feel free to click or type in !enter or !ticket to be entered into the giveaway to work with Levi on your college app essay. It'll be a free session with him.
Okay, Ivan, you asked a very, very, very difficult question that I have never seen on the SAT or ACT. It's choosing between he and him in a way that's super, super difficult. I am willing to talk to you about it, on the Discord, but right now I don't think it's necessary. I would not worry about that. You definitely need to know the difference between he and him, subject versus object, who and whom, and if that's generally a problem for you, then we can talk about it. But this specific question is way harder than anything else. It's just a specific thing. Yeah, exec. If you want to work with me, great. You got to pay, or enter the raffle,
Yeah.
or just hang out here.
We'll just hang out on stream.
Yeah, we're in your computer, so you
This
got us.
next thing, this is f of x. F of x is graphed. I'm not actually going to write it out because it doesn't matter. It gives you this really nasty thing where it's x to the fourth over 4, the third over 3, minus x squared minus 1. It's gross and it doesn't matter. But they're telling you that g of x equals f of x plus k. All right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, no, it does not matter.
All right.
If the point, so g of x, if the point, no, that's -1. That's at -1. Why did you
What?
erase that,
I don't
please?
know why
It was
I
at
did that.
-1. Thank you. Okay. If the point on the coordinate 0, 0 lies on the graph, so g of y equals g of x, what is the value of k? So if y equals g of x at 0, 0, we know that g of x crosses through the origin. If it crosses through the origin, and all we're doing is taking f of x and adding some constant, we just want to bump this entire line, not line, but fourth term, this equation, we want to take the graph and shift it up 1. Because we want to go from -1 to 0. Meaning k is just 1. Maybe that's really, really simple. I'm not sure what was maybe tripping you up on this question. I think them giving you a really nasty thing for what f of x equals is really confusing. And this is someone new who I don't know if they've commented on the actual chat, but Lazarulian. This is your question. If you have anything specific you want me to go over on this, let me know. What you need to recognize is that you just have the function and you're adding some constant, which means your y value is going to be your g of x. So that's the only thing that's going to be changing when you add in k. K is only altering your y value. You want to shift up 1, you add 1 to it. Great. Yeah. Levi, you want to come up and we'll choose between the last two and the inference questions?
Yeah, can you start choosing between the last two
Hey, Lazarulian.
all by yourself?
Yeah, the f of x the long equation they gave you there is just to confuse you. Choosing between the last two. In the reading section, I can't remember who asked this, but if you are... Okay, hopefully that answered your question, Laza Rulian. But choosing between the last two in the reading section, you've narrowed it down. What you want to do, it's still to find 3 wrong answers. And I know that's maybe not the best answer you want right away, but to explain that a little more, you want to be able to find anything wrong with the 2 answer options left, right? Your 2 options left. Meaning, not only is it something that is just blatantly wrong, but maybe it's something where only one of the words is incorrect, right? One of the words is a little too extreme, right? It's always this, or it is never, right? Maybe it's just a single word that throws it off. But that is really what you want to do is, hey, thanks for the follow, Molafeb. What you really want to do when you're stuck between just 2 answer options on the reading is really dig into word by word how you can prove them right or wrong. Really, you're trying to prove one of them wrong. Anything else you want to add to that?
I think this is the only thing I'd add that basically includes what I would say about inference questions. Oh, I forgot it. Dang it.
Great. Levi's memory is not so great. We've went over this
so
tonight.
bad. I don't know what to do. Let me just go off screen and think about it
Okay,
again.
inference questions. You want to... So these are a type of detail questions, right? In inference questions, you're going to have information that you're going to have to go and find through the reading section. Great, glad you could join. If you're a senior, feel free to enter again. You probably have some more tickets.
Have a good night.
Yeah, we will whisper you later if you end up winning, or we'll contact you guys on the Discord, whoever ends up winning.
Ideally the Discord.
But for inference questions, it's similar to a detail question. And detail question means you're just looking through the passage to find the answer. With inference, you have to have a little bit better understanding of the passage and a little bit better understanding of where you're trying to look for the answer. And you're kind of building off of it. You're inferring, that's why we call it that, from the passage and saying, well, based on this part of the passage, it follows that this happens, right? And you can still knock 3 off and say these 3 can't be right. This disproves it, or some of the wording here is wrong, so it can't be those. But it is, you want to finish that for me?
Yeah,
I think that's
the last thing that I would say with both of these is that when it gets hard, because choosing between the last 2 is hard, inference questions are really hard because they require more understanding, as he said, is I would make sure that you're wary of making too many assumptions. So an inference is not an assumption. It is using the knowledge that you have that is evidence-based in the passage itself to say, what would this character, what would the author do in this situation? The more assumptions that you make, the more times you say, well, I think that... so the character hates frogs for whatever reason. And then you assume that because they hate frogs, they hate toads. And then you assume from there that the toad handler that they meet, they hate them. That you're starting to make too many assumptions that are taking you away from... I don't know, there's a toad handler.
Yeah, sure.
Which is super dangerous. I think they're pretty poisonous. But it depends on the toad. Do you remember those books, Frog and Toad?
No.
No?
I don't. No.
Really? Frog
No.
and Toad, they were best friends.
No.
Really cool.
Fox and the Hound?
Similar, but Frog and Toad.
Oh, okay, no.
Yeah.
Never heard of either.
Then, okay, so you need to be aware of the more assumptions you make, the farther you are getting away from the test. So if your name is Amber Muffin and you start assuming things, the test is not testing what Amber Muffin assumes. The test is testing what they said in the darn passage. Okay?
Hey, thank you, Lazarulian.
Thank you, Lazarulian, for the
He's not here.
Dang it.
Hey,
We'll have to get
Yee
him.
boy, if you're in here, throw that clip up. Otherwise, we will grab a clip to send you later.
Shoot.
Dang.
We're really sorry you...
Normally, Brady comes down and does this really fun thing that if we try to imitate, it'll just be embarrassing and not good.
Yes.
But we appreciate it, and if you're on the stream tomorrow, we will make sure he does
That's
it.
super disappointing. Yes. Lazarulian, if you are on again, tell us, and then we will... There we
Thank
go.
you.
I crashed, probably. That's what
Energetic.
it is.
Oh, yes. No?
Oh, no. Nope.
I couldn't find that clip.
Okay.
Well done.
Let's
All right.
see.
To answer, so Robot Dancer asked about specific books a little bit. So you read books like Percy Jackson, which are young adult novels, young adult books that you enjoy, but you don't think they're necessarily challenging. I would say it's still better to read that than to read nothing. It works. Oh, it works if you click on it. Great. In terms of books you should read books you enjoy, and you can find books in that genre that are more difficult. So in the Percy Jackson genre is usually the kind of books I like, or at least the books I liked in high school, and still do. I can throw some
really fast authors at you, and you can come back and check this later. You have Joe Abercrombie. You have Douglas Adams, which is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is just funny. Terry Brooks, Pierce Brown, Jim Butcher, Robert Jordan, Brandon Sanderson, Michael J. Sullivan, Patrick Rothfuss. That's one of the Something of the Wind, The Name of the Wind.
The Name of the Wind.
Name of the Wind,
Yeah.
which is a very difficult book in terms of the actual vocabulary used like that.
Yeah, I mean anything. It doesn't matter so much because at
Stuff
that
that
level
doesn't
it's
make
good enough.
sense.
It's helpful. I would say that Shakespeare can definitely help. It might make you familiar with some words, but you don't necessarily know what he's saying in the first place, so maybe not. And punctuation doesn't really happen when you're reading in verse or prose of his. So yeah, do it, but it's not going to help you too much. Prose is ideal.
Yeah. Exec, yes, we can, and we're in the process of getting that working. Thanks.
Yeah, we are working on that.
Mm-hmm. We are in the process of building a computer now that can handle that, so we're not running off one of our laptops.
I would like to just build a robot Brady.
Robot Brady.
Who does that every time.
It would be nice. All right. Are there any other questions? I'm sure there are. Keep them coming. Another break. Guys, go ahead and enter for the giveaway to work on your college app essay.
Yeah, if you're a senior, I will help you. I will give you a free session of college essay revisions if you want. If you're a junior, sorry.
What's the easiest way of memorizing the unit circle? What part of the unit circle? I have a good way. If you're talking about the reference angles, I have a good way for that. Otherwise, not sure what you're going with. So be a little more specific while I start this so that I know what you need to know. What you mean when you want to know what to memorize. If you're talking about, if you have this, you have an angle theta, you know that your y value is this part of the line. This part is the x distance, right? Ooh, calculator 18. Ooh, did we do that one? Maybe not. We'll try it.
I don't know.
You know that this distance here is your sine of x or sine of theta. No, I lied. Sine is your y value. Hey, oh, those are a bunch of numbers and letters. But hey, thanks for joining. I think followers get extra tickets. You get an extra ticket's worth, maybe.
Yeah, the more stuff
You
you,
have your X and
do
your
with
Y.
relation to our channel, the more tickets you can get.
Yeah. Can you be a little more specific about the unit circle? Do you want to go over focus on the boring history passage? We talked about it a little bit, but not specifically
Boring
the history
history
passage. I don't know what you want me to cover on the unit circle or what things you're asking about how to memorize.
I would say
Vid.
don't memorize. Don't memorize things. It's not helpful because when I memorize things, I forget them almost immediately.
Yes, I will say if you're talking about reference angles, though, it's good to have a general idea of what those are.
Yes, especially on the SAT because they give you the ratios of the reference angles at the beginning of the calculator and no calculator sections. And all the reference angles are either 0 degrees, 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees, or 90 degrees. You can always figure that out with those reference angles.
Yeah.
So I would do it from there.
We have not really looked into them too much. I don't know. Check it out yourself, I guess, if there's anything free that they give out and see if you like it. Reference angles. Okay, great. Reference angles, the way I like to remember them, you know, or you should know, very basic things in terms of your angles. Angles. You have 0 degrees, 30, 45, 60, and 90. If you have the sine and then cosine, all right, you know if you're at 0 on the unit circle, you're here. Well, your x is 1 and your y is 0. So 1 and 0. You know if you're at 90 degrees, you start up here, you're at 1 and you're at 0. Great. Well, they're going to mirror each other a little bit, and I'll show you how. Are you going to read that and make sure we have all the questions up there? Okay, because I'm not going to be looking at that for a second. After that, we're going to jump up, and I'm going to write these down real quick. Okay, I'll show you how I think about remembering these since you just want a way to memorize them. There is what looks to be a pattern. And it's not a pattern that technically works in terms of how the math works, but a way to visually think about it. All right? If you go from 0 to 1/2 to root 2 over 2 to root 3 over 2 to 1, what you're really doing is you start at 0 because you know at sine of 0 degrees you're at 0, or at cosine you're at 1. Right? As you move down, you move up, right? The same type of thing here. As you go from 0 to 1, though, you're in theory just adding a value of 1, root 1, to the top of this. So I go from root 1 over 2. Well, I really go from root 0 over 2 to root 1 over 2 to root 2 over 2 to root 3 over 2. Make it more complicated, to root 4 over 2, which is just
0.
1.
1, yes.
Okay? That is how I think about how you transition through these, and because I know that all I'm doing is, in theory, adding the value inside the radical by 1 every time I go up, that's how I'm able to do this without actually having to memorize the 3 in here. Hopefully that helps. You really have to memorize the outsides and what you're changing it by.
Yeah.
Have you been reading these to go over the
Yeah. We're
Okay.
good. We're good. I think everything's been answered. Okay. So let's do Calc 18, number 18. I'm gonna pull that over, lay up.
Okay.
We might lag for a hot sec.
Yeah, glad to help. Hey, thanks for the follow. Also, if you want to enter, if you're a senior, I think following gives you some extra tickets, extra points for tickets. Or you can be like some people in the chat who might be trying to save all their tickets for the last day. I don't know. But Friday is the last day. 18. Do you want this or I can?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
I just read it so I could know the numbers quicker.
Yeah, Original's killing it right now with their points.
Yeah. Okay. For this question, it's right here. You may be able to kind of read it through here, and I don't really feel like erasing that. Should be okay. This is in the SAT down below, SAT number 4, which you can find yourself as well.
Yep.
Sorry. We're not even
18.
doing
It's
17.
18.
We're doing 18. Yeah. Okay. Number 18. Couple ways to go about this. I would say first we're going to draw a picture.
They're not getting erased. We will find other things to do with them after this.
Yes. Okay. Let's draw a picture. So we have 2 milk glasses that are right cylinders, and they have a diameter of 3. Diameter of 3 means they have a radius of 1.5, which I think is the more important thing. So we have a radius of 1.5. We have 2 of them. So they're identical, even though I didn't draw them well. Now.
Yes, we are nerds. Thanks, Dwarf.
We're nerds. We're nerds.
Isn't that
We're proud of it.
It's a who coined that term?
Nerds?
Dr. Seuss, right?
Dr. Seuss,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a nerd. You can actually look up nerd in images. You might get some weird-looking people, but you'll also get Dr. Seuss's original drawing.
Yeah.
It's actually not even that cool. Like, he has cool drawings. Anywho, cylinders. We have 2 of these, and they have this. So let's figure out the volume, because we're definitely doing volume stuff here with a gallon of milk. So the volume of these is going to be V equals, and I think
Should
they
I
give
go
you...
grab my gallon of milk?
No.
Oh, okay.
Actually, yeah, do it. Do it. Just don't spill it.
Oh, I won't.
Okay.
Don't worry about that.
Volume of a cylinder, which I'm pretty sure is given at the beginning of both sections, so you don't have to memorize it, is the height times pi r squared. So pi r squared h is volume. So the volume of both of these is going to be pi times 1/3. Why am I getting 1/3? Sorry. Let's do 3/2 instead of 1.5. So 3/2. It did say the diameter is...
You're
3.
studying vocabulary. Is it worth it?
No.
No.
Nope, don't do it. Read.
Would you be allowed to bring a gallon of milk with you? The SAT to help you solve the problems? Probably not. But you are allowed to bring snacks, and I recommend it for in between, because you are going to be there for 3 hours. You want to have water. You want to have maybe some granola bars, but you want to have something to keep you kind of awake throughout the very boring test.
It would also help you a lot if you cheated, because you'd do better.
Can a gallon of milk count as a snack? I hope so. Why not vocab, Robot Dancer? Because vocab is not something that is actually touched on very much. Back in the day when we took the SAT, vocab was its own section, but vocab is not really important. And it's almost always vocab in context, which Amber Muffin asked about, so we'll get to that in a minute.
Yep. Okay, so this is the volume of one of these guys, and we need 2 of them, so we're going to put a 2 in front of there. So that's the volume of both. Now this, we're going to square 3/2, which is going to be 9/4, times 6, which is going to be, what is that, 54. Oh, no. That,
9/4, 9/2,
27?
6.
27 pi, I think. Tell me if I got that math wrong.
times 6.
Yeah, times 6.
Oh, shoot.
So it's 9/4 times 6, which is going to be, and then, but
Yeah,
that
it's
2,
27.
27. Okay, so 27 pi. That's the volume of both of these together. That's step 1. We have that. And now we want to say how many... Oh, what am I doing? Okay. This is going to be 27 pi over 2, because the question is how many of these glasses can you fill, right? What is the largest number of full milk glasses you can pour from 1 gallon of milk? Okay, now we get into units.
Do you want the space? I'll switch over.
Yes, please. Units here.
Good players. We're gonna get to your question as well. Go
Hi,
ahead.
good players. Welcome.
It's reading timing again.
This is volume here. Now we're going to do the volume of the gallon of milk. So a gallon of milk is 231 cubic inches.
Sorry, I'm gonna grab my phone.
Yeah. Oh, and this is cubic inches as well. So that's certainly important.
Thanks for all the follows, guys.
So 231 cubic inches in 1 gallon. Okay, well, actually, it's not really much of a units problem. We have 231 cubic inches here, and we have 27 pi over 2 cubic inches there. So to see how many glasses you can fill, you divide 231 cubic inches by 13.5 pi cubic inches, and the whole number of times that goes into 231 will be your answer. Which is what? Oh, I thought you were doing it.
How do you read faster? You read more. Yeah, so we'll get to that. So for those of you asking about how to read faster, there's a couple of you now. We talked about reading timing maybe 15, 20 minutes ago. Oh, they know each other. Cool. About 15, 20 minutes ago. So we'll give you another general explanation when we get down the road to that question again. But this video is going to be archived if you want to go back and watch through a little more expansive explanation of that.
Okay, I don't know what this answer is, but it's this answer, whatever that is, and that's your answer.
Yeah.
This is not a units question. I'm a little bit disappointed, but you need to find the volume of those things. So when
I
you
think
hit
it's
a
5.
when you heard a is it 5?
I think so, if I remember right.
13.5 times I don't even care. Yeah. When you hit a word problem like this, the important thing is do not freak out. Okay, so if you read slowly, don't freak out. It doesn't help you at all. You want to read sentence by sentence, make sure you understand every single part of the question. Then you need to recognize what they're talking about. If they start giving you volume, or all the parameter, or all the lengths and things of a right circular cylinder, then you should probably find the volume of it. If they talk about the volume of milk in a gallon,
Yes, you
then
may ask
you relate them.
exact why I'm drinking a gallon of milk.
Ugh. I don't like.
It has
that
to
we
do
are-
with this question.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I just really, really like milk. That's really it.
Okay, I think we're done with this.
Let's
question.
go to history passage.
Yes.
We want to talk about that, or we want to?
Yes. Let me get this. Yeah.
That's not
Can
it.
you move that, man? What do you mean?
You said I could bring it up.
Yeah, it's true.
All right.
History I'm gonna turn this off.
Do you? Okay.
History passage. History passage. History passage.
Yeah.
This is the one you don't like. Okay, if you don't
Me
like
either.
it, then you probably shouldn't necessarily read all the way through and not enjoy it.
Save it for last.
Yeah.
As well.
So the SAT, you do have way more time than the ACT, but you will not be able to read faster. It's not going to happen. And get the same out of it that you would normally. I read really, really slowly. So if I'm running out of time on this test, or if I'm doing the ACT because you have almost no time, I would recommend skimming. This is my approach, not Brendan's. He's going to get to his. And we're going to go through this quickly because we've
already talked about
like
it. At
20
about
minutes ago.
9:45, which is about an hour and 45 minutes into our video that's going to be uploaded in an hour.
Yeah. But what I do is I skim for location. Especially in the history passage, you know what's going on. Skim for location. And what I mean by that is when you finish reading, you should have an idea of where they talked about things and just the topics. So it talked about Paul Revere's childhood, and then it talked about his ride, and then it went back to his childhood, and then it went to when he met George Washington. I don't know if he did, and then something else. If you know those things, then when you read the questions, your memory is jogged, and you said, oh, it talks about how George Washington perceived him. Well, it's right up here because I remember it being there. So if you hate the readings or the history passage because it takes you a long time, or you just don't like history, then read for location, and you read until you know what's going on, and then you skip a couple of lines, maybe to the end of the paragraph, read a little bit more until you know what's going on, and then you skip again and again and again. You build that visual image in your mind of where things happen, not the really nitty-gritty parts of what they say. That way, you spend no more than 2-3 minutes reading a passage, or skimming it, and you haven't really read that much, so you haven't wasted your time. You will go back and you'll have to read, but at least you're pointing your focus at something that matters. That's my approach. Brendan, what's your approach?
My approach is to read it quickly. Yeah, just
Sick.
to read it quickly. Also to read through the questions to see anywhere where it talks about a actual line number and go and mark that on the page so that you can then, as you read through the passage, get to that question immediately and then go back through. So you're not having to reread that part more than, you're not going to have to read it more than once ideally. If you have no idea what's going on,
Like the language is weird.
read more. No. It's if you don't have if the language is weird, you don't have the vocabulary to understand what they're saying.
Leave that passage for last. So you
Whatever-
need to do, if you don't know the vocab, you don't know the vocab.
Mm-hmm.
And the way to work on vocab is to read more. You can't study the vocab that's going to be necessary on the test because there's a lot of vocab or a lot of words. So that really won't work unless you're just reading all the time, which I did in middle school because I had no friends. Now, so do everything you can to leave that for last. And you do the simpler questions first on that passage. You leave it to last so you use all the rest of the time. You don't have to, game the system and think, I should spend another 30 seconds on this question and then move on. You're just finishing off and running out of time on that passage. And then you do the simpler questions first, and then you get to the ones that are hard, and I would recommend you take your time. If you are not going to get the right answer, then and now you've dealt with time because you're on the last passage, slow down and read and work until you understand. And if you don't, you're cooked. And that's what it is.
Right. And during those passages is a good time to try to do the line numbers so you can at least answer it piecewise or piecemeal. So you can at least get a few answers out of it without having to understand the whole passage. Right? What he said about the history passage, leaving it to the end, or any of these passages, whatever passage you don't like, take it to the end. Because it's going to slow you down and you don't want to waste your time on that.
Original. Yes, Friday is the last day of the cram sessions, but we do 5 days a week, Sunday through Thursday normally. It's just not as long. We do 8 to 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. And generally we have a schedule set up, and we say, okay, we're going to work on 2-part questions, and then we're also going to work on trig ratios, and that's what we're going to do for the first half of the session, and then we open it up to questions. So you don't have to have a good night, Pink.
See you, Pink.
We'll be here tomorrow and the next day and the next day. So we're on 5 days a week, except for this week we're on 6. The ACT, when that happens, the week leading up to that, we have ACT cram sessions. So we're just, plugging along every day, chugging along, plugging in.
Thanks for the follow, Pink.
Plug it in.
Vocab and context. These questions, so Amber asked a specific question, but we're going to go over the general approach to it. Context is key. That is what she said we were going to say. She said, I know Levi will say context, but nothing. And it was just blank. No? Amber. So what you want to do is find it in the context, right? It'll say, as in line 7, this word most nearly means what? That means you don't care if any of those words are synonyms. In fact, that's probably there to throw you off. You want to take each of those 4 words and plug it in, which I know this is writing and language, so it's not plugging in like math, but you want to take it and replace the other word and see if it still works in that sentence. Now, more than one of them might actually work grammatically in that sentence, but only one of them will keep the meaning the same, and that's what you want to do. You read through it and you say, does A work? Yes or no? Nope. Okay, cross it off. Does B work? I think so. Okay, maybe. How about C? No. D? No. Okay, well, it's B. Right? And you want to go through and find 3 wrong answers.
Context.
He said.
Context.
You want to read it in the context.
Yes. I like coming up with my own definition of what I think the word should be. There are some questions, line, text, evidence ones, where there are 2 answer choices that I just can't pick between. How do I stop wasting time contemplating which one to pick?
Guess. Sorry. I mean,
yes.
Actually, you could just guess if it's wasting time, or save it till the end, and then you have more time to go over it. But
I'm not sorry, Amber. Yeah, I think there are a couple last-ditch effort things that you can do when you're choosing between 2 and you just don't know. Think about how it fits in with the passage as a whole. It needs to agree with the point of the passage. So if you're answering a purpose question and they say, what's the purpose of this? Well, it's not going to go against the purpose of the passage.
So,
yeah.
We talked about this earlier, but you want to be finding 3 wrong answers in all of these. If you're down to 2 and you've tried proving them wrong, you can get a little bit more nitty-gritty and go through and say, word by word, do these work? lots of times there will be maybe extremes where they say never or always, and you might assume that's what it says based on the passage, but they never say that, and so it's wrong. Right? You don't have to have the whole answer choice be wrong. You just say, oh, well, these two words actually make this answer wrong. Right? You want to be particular with what you say or what you can find to prove it wrong.
Yes, I think with the evidence ones where they're giving you line numbers, it's very, very common where you can get rid of 2 because they're just not talking about the question at all. And that's great. That's the easy part. You get rid of the irrelevant answers. And then if you're having trouble, go back to the beginning of the question again. Reread the question one more time and make very, very sure that you are answering that question specifically. So if the question is asking you, what did the boy fear that his mother would say, or what did the boy fear that his mother would think of him? And then one of the line numbers is what the mother said to him. That's wrong. It's not necessarily irrelevant, but the question is asking what did the boy fear, not what the mother said. So that would be wrong. So go back to the question and make very, 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 very sure that you're answering that question. It's a simple idea, but if you're having trouble, just staring at it more is not going to help you. Go back to the beginning and be very nitpicky.
Hey, Yee boy.
Hey, yeah, boy.
Good to see you.
You are very late. Do you have a note? What's your note?
Are we going to do 23 on the calculator?
Sure. Let's do it. Ugh.
Oh, okay. No, this is standard deviation.
Yay.
Or one of them talks about it.
Should I just...
Do you guys have a video on statistic questions for math? I don't know if we have a video on that yet. We've definitely covered simple stats problems they go over on this. Is it possible to go from 1120 to a 1330? How much time do you have before you have to get that 1330, and how much time and effort are you willing to put in? That really depends.
Also, how good are you at cheating?
One day, probably not. Stop it.
Sorry.
All right.
We should
How
just
good are
give
you
them
at
all the
guessing?
tools.
If you have some really good guessing strategies. The table below gives the distributions of high temperatures in degrees Fahrenheit for city A and city B over the same 21 days in March. Here are the two tables, and this is SAT, so here we go. Which of the following is true about the data shown for these 21 days? All right. The standard deviation of temperatures in city A is larger. Let's look at city A. Okay. The standard deviation for temperatures in city B is larger. Standard deviation is larger here than here, maybe. C, the standard deviation in temperature in city A is the same as that of city B. Okay. And the standard deviation of temperatures in these cities cannot be calculated with the data provided. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and say that it's not D, because even though we don't need to know the actual full equation for how to solve for standard deviation, this is practice test 4, which we have linked down below. All right. The standard deviation of the temperatures is not going to be the same. I'm going to go ahead and cross off C. And now we're saying, is the standard deviation greater for A or B? What you need to know is standard deviation, generically speaking, because they don't actually ask for you to have a very in-depth understanding of it, is, Levi, make sure I'm saying this right, because I like how you say it, and I don't remember if I say it the way you do. But it is the average distance that each point is away from the mean.
Yes.
Great, thanks. I like the way you say it. Meaning that we have a smaller standard deviation if all of our points are clumped together. So if we have something like this, where we have points, a scatter plot, and they're like this, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, kind of like a Gaussian, right? We have a fairly low distribution, or a fairly low standard deviation. However, if I have something that looks like this, then I have a pretty large standard deviation because they're pretty spread out from the mean, which would be somewhere in here, right? That might be the mean, and here this might be the mean, right? In which case the average distance is pretty close. The average distance is pretty far. Meaning A, we have 14 values all at 79, and at 80 there's 3, and as you go further away there's fewer and fewer values, meaning everything is pretty close to 79. B here, city B, we have a lot at the beginning at 80 degrees and a lot at 76, and it's kind of sporadic in the middle, meaning I actually drew these to fit. This looks like city A, and this looks like city B. Our standard deviation is going to be much smaller for city A, meaning B is the answer here, that it's going to be larger for city B.
You done?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I want to talk
There
to
is
Amber.
nothing wrong with community college.
Hey, Amber.
Hey,
Say I'm here if you're here, and then I'm going to talk to you.
She is. She just messaged.
Great.
The practice test is below. I said that.
Okay. Can I talk to Amber here? Where are you at, Amber?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, calculator's number 24. You can take that next, but I want to talk to Amber. So if anybody wants to look at this vocab and context question that Amber put in the Discord, it's the most recent question. Now, you said that you don't want context, and I have an issue with the word context because it is just yet another buzzword, and buzzwords don't necessarily help you, even though for me it makes sense because I connect it to all these different things that I actually understand about the test, but for you it's just context and it's annoying, everybody says it, so whatever. Let's cut that out. Let's look at just the sentence that this word curiosity is in. The way the sentence is structured actually gives you information on what this word curiosity could mean in this context, in this sentence, yeah? So, we have, sorry to be reading this necessarily, but false memories can sometimes be a mere curiosity. Mere curiosity. Okay, so that's important. Mere meaning just a little curiosity, not important, right? That's the word mere.
Mere, not mere.
False memories can sometimes be a mere curiosity, but other times they have real implications. The sentence structure is they can sometimes be this, but sometimes they can be this. So those two things are being contrasted. So the word curiosity you can define by its opposite at the other end of the sentence, which is real implications. So if something is a mere curiosity and sometimes it has real implications, that means that sometimes it's really important. Sometimes it's a mere curiosity. It's just a little thing. Okay? So the word curiosity doesn't matter at all. So the answer choices, which are concern, question, oddity, and wonder.
See you, Dwarf. Glad we could help.
See ya. Have a good night. Concern doesn't really oppose real implications because concern is just a general term and it actually kind of has a more serious connotation. And the serious side is the real implication side, and we're on the mere curiosity side. So concern doesn't work. Then we have question. Is it a mere question? Okay, but question is pretty neutral with regards to seriousness. Then we have oddity, and then we have wonder. I don't think wonder is good because wonder is not necessarily serious, but it's this wonderful thing. It's a wonder, and I don't think that works here. We have question and oddity. I think it's just a weird thing. It's either it has real implications or it's just a weird thing, and I think that mere oddity makes sense. Okay? It's a mere curiosity, like you're curious about something. When you use curiosity as a noun in this case, you're curious about it because it's odd. Does that make sense? So you are using context. He's reaching into the void. Did you hear him? Okay. Congrats on the ticket buy. Okay, does this make sense, Amber Muffin? Lovely. Okay. So when I say context, that's what I mean. The sentence structure really helps. The structure of the paragraph really helps. They're using that word, and the word is not in a vacuum. It has all this stuff around it, and the way they set it up often does something with that. So they either set it up as a contrast, or they say it's a mere curiosity, and then they explain that. And in that explanation, it will give you information about the word curiosity and how to replace it. Okay, congrats on all these things, guys, all these tickets that you're getting. We are drawing the raffle in, oh yeah, this is why.
10
yeah,
minutes.
We're drawing the raffle in about 10 minutes, a little more. So if you're not sure if you can get another ticket, go for it.
I'm going to throw up the map.
Okay, yes, number 2426. Cool. Sorry about the lag. Oh, there we go.
Ooh, I like these.
Did we just do something like 24?
We did
Or
something
no?
similar not too long ago, yes. So for 24, we'll go through this kind of quickly. We've done quite a number of these. The trick is, do you want to write part over whole, part over whole?
Yes.
All right, in the circle above, the segment AB is the diameter. If the length of ADB is 8 pi, what is the length of the radius of the circle? Okay. I don't even know if we need to know part over whole right now for this one. Sorry. Maybe. Hold on. Give me a second. We know that we have A to B is going to be 8 pi. And we know that a diameter cuts a circle in half. So the semicircle here is 8 pi, meaning the other semicircle is going to be 8 pi, meaning that we have a circumference of 16 pi. Right? From there, we can say that the circumference equals 2 pi r. 2 pi r equals 16 pi. R equals 8.
Hurrah!
All right.
So we don't need this.
No, we don't. I was really wanting us to.
Lovely. Okay, let's hop down.
To 26, you want to have to...
Bottom.
Yeah. Dope.
Should I
like
do
this
this
one.
Ooh, but you just did that one.
No, Brady did the other day.
No, I'm saying you just did that one. So I'm gonna do this one.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, fine.
Who asked this? Who is this?
It was, I don't know who asked 26. I think it's all that. How did you pick 16?
Wait.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
No, the answer here is C. It's 8. The circumference is 16, but they want the length of the radius. So you set 16 pi equal to the equation for the circumference, which conveniently has r in it, and you go there. You solve for r. Great.
Numbers 26. Let x be y, be numbers such as. Wait, I don't even know what this is. Let x and y be numbers such that negative y is less than x, which is less than y. Which of the following must be true? All right, how am I gonna do this one? Let's see. X has to be between negative y and y, and has to be bigger than negative y, and bigger than negative y and smaller than y, which indicates to me. Well, let's look at the answer choices. Absolute value of x has to be less than y. That seems too hard. Not gonna do it now. X has to be greater than 0. Nah. I don't know why that would be, because let's think about this. Let's figure out some options. If this is true, that's the only thing we know for sure is true. Let's say that x is 1. No, sorry, it says x has to be greater than 0. X is negative 1. Let's make it negative 1. Now, I want to come up with y values that disprove, or that can do this, but now we have x is less than 0. So let's say that y is 2, and negative y is therefore negative 2. So this is a true statement, but x is not greater than 0, so I think that numeral 2 is wrong. Okay?
Great.
Following so far, everybody. We just did a counterexample. That's one of the good ways to get rid of to deal with these problems. They give you a given, and then they say what must be true. Well, if it must be true, I can't come up with a counterexample. So try to come up with a counterexample, get rid of it. Now, y is greater than 0. Let's see if we can come up with a counterexample to that. I don't think I can. Try, say it in the chat if you can come up with one, but I can't really think of it. And then logically in this problem, we have x is greater than the opposite of y, and it's less than y. So I think y has to be positive, because if y is negative, then the opposite of y is positive, and then you're saying that x is greater than a positive number and less than a negative number. So this is not true.
Can't be.
So what that means is that y has to be positive, because if it's negative, then it's, if x is 0 and you have a positive number, that works, right? So y is 1, and then it's greater than negative 1. That works. So both x and y equal 0.
No, because it's not inclusive. It's less than, not less than, or equal to.
Yeah.
Good thought, though, Yee boy.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Now, so that therefore, I think number 3 is good. I like that one. Now, number 1. We have probably the most important thing, which is number 3. So number 1. Does the absolute value of x have to be...
You don't have to do anything else. Look at the answer choices.
Ah, okay, yeah. Brandon was smart here. You can just look. The only answer choice with number 3 in it is C. So C has to be right. Roman numeral 1 is correct.
It would make 3 false, but it can't work because these are all less than. So 0 is not technically less than 0.
Yeah, so you've gone against number 3.
You can't do that, Yee boy.
You've gone against number 3, which is what you were trying to do, but you've also gone against the given, which you're not allowed to do. You have to be in line with the given, but not in line with the musts. Ah, yes. Good, cool.
The reason Levi started this way, or I thought so, but maybe not, the reason he skipped 1 is because if you look at this, 1 is in all of these, meaning 1 is true.
1 is true.
So don't worry about it. Then you know that either 2, then you can go and just look at 2 and 3. If one of those is wrong, you know the other is right.
Yep.
So
we could have actually stopped this question after proving number 2 wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shortcuts, guys.
Yes, 1 implies... Well, yes, it does. Yes, it does. You're right.
Applies?
Good idea.
I think they meant implies, yes.
Implies, yeah.
Great. You want to do...
Okie dokie.
All right, what other questions do we have? We don't have tons of time left.
Does everyone know what BPL is, and do they know enough to take it on the test?
1 in 3 matches.
That is true, Amber.
Yeah.
Does everybody know what BPL is? I think Amber meant implies, not applies. You don't know what BPL is? Do you really not? You are so cooked for this test. BPL is Brendan's personal life, which is very important for this test.
It's not at all.
So ask as many questions as possible about Brendan's personal life, because otherwise you will fail the math section and the reading section.
Lemonade. It's not important, is what it is.
Yeah, well,
It's not about your personal life, Levi.
can't.
Oh, you can't?
Nope. Do. Dang it. Dang it.
Oh, Levi. Technology. Did you drag it? Dude.
It's gone. It's all
Oh,
gone.
hold
now.
on. Actually, though, please don't. I don't want to have to redo that again.
Oh, that's what I did. I could possibly use BPL for my college apps. Yeah, you could.
No.
That's not a bad point,
Sorry.
Turnip.
Just want to set this down here. You will fail bowling in your name. No.
That's it.
Okay, no calc number 20 and calculator 27. I will do no calc 20 right now. Can you
then what
request
is
a
it?
problem from the practice test? Absolutely, that's why it's down there.
Yeah.
From a practice test? Also, absolutely. Give us any question.
Wait,
we'll do
sorry. Calculator 27. Okay.
However, exec has been asking tons, so if Dimdario has one, we will probably put theirs in front of exec. Sorry, exec. Okay, non-calculator, question 20. Right there.
Ugh.
I did this one yesterday. That's all right. Practice test number 3. Can you actually ask us that question, because we don't have that test on here?
Yes, if you did.
Practice test number
Yes,
3.
ideally, Dimdario, you ask from test number 4, which is down below, because we can pull that up in the overlay like this. We can't do that with test number 3.
Yeah. Okay. Question 20. We have that the mesosphere is the layer of Earth's atmosphere between 50 and 85 kilometers above Earth's surface at a distance of 50 kilometers from Earth's surface. The temperature in the mesosphere is 5 degrees Celsius. At a distance of 80 kilometers from Earth's surface, the temperature is negative 80 degrees Celsius. For every additional 10 kilometers from the Earth's surface, the temperature in the mesosphere decreases by K degrees Celsius, where K is a constant. What is the value of K? All right. Well, I know. Great. Levi, do you want to click and look at that? We have 50 kilometers goes to 85 kilometers. And we have negative 5 degrees Celsius goes to negative 80 degrees Celsius at the same time. All right? Meaning we have a change here. Sorry, not 85, 80. They give us 80. They give us 85 up top to try to give us something else we might think is necessary. 80. And we're going to do that before 27. From here, we know that the change here is 30 degrees, or 30 kilometers.
Oh, yeah, I like this one.
And our change in degrees is 75. All right, degrees Celsius. And we want to know how much it changes every 10 kilometers. Well, I can set up a proportion here. X degrees, right? Celsius, right? So the units are all the same. I can go ahead and get rid of that. I know that if I move 30 kilometers, I change by 75. If I move by 10, I move by X. I can do what Brady did here, where you flip it and then multiply by 10 and do all that. I want to do this a lot simpler. I know that 30 to 10 is a 3-to-1 ratio, meaning 75 to X should be 3-to-1, meaning 75 equals 3X. X equals, or K. I always do X instead of K here.
Don't.
I know. K equals 25 degrees Celsius. And that was, who asked this? This was one of the other,
I forget.
one of the newer people. So
I
hopefully that
forget.
answers your question. Let me know, good player.
So I have a question for you. I'm doing Dimdario's question
yeah.
there before we do 27?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Great. Glad I can help. King Deontay, yes. Go ahead and ask something. Is that the only method to do it? I'm sure there's another method. I would say this is probably the quickest and easiest, is to look at it in terms of a proportion, because they're asking you a rate of change, and proportions gives you a ratio and a rate of change, right? I want to know how many I change every 10 kilometers, and I have a change of 75 for 30. I think proportions is possibly not the only way to go, but I would say the best way to go. If you have something better, please share with the class. And I don't mean that sarcastically,
I
but
think what
I think this is...
you could just do it. I think. Okay, is this distance and rate and things like that, or is it not distance? Oh, it's Celsius and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, I mean, if you have another way, please share. I think this
so.
is the
I wasn't
best.
paying enough attention, but
Talking.
you're starting out with 10 kilometers, right? And then if you're thinking about
Yeah.
it as a rate of change, you're going at the rate of 75 degrees Celsius per 30 kilometers, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to get to kilometers you want to get to Celsius as an answer,
Yeah.
right? So you have this ratio here, which has to be true. So this is actually technically a units problem. You could do it this way: 10
And you can
kilometers
flip it as well.
times 75, because they equal each other. It's part of a ratio. 75 kilometers over, 75 degrees Celsius over 30 kilometers,
Which is this. It's the same
which
thing.
is that if you're going to find it. And yeah, it's going to give you the same
It
answer.
gives you the same exact thing.
km, and then you solve. And then you're ending up with that as your units. Okay, so I want to do King Deontay's question, but we can't pull it up. So this is on SAT number 3, if you want to go find that yourselves. Could you turn off the overlay, possibly? Lovely
What time
night.
is it?
It's 26, but we can go a
Okay.
little bit longer.
Yeah, we're
Let's
going to
go a
finish
little
this
bit
and
longer.
probably do the...
Yeah, the last 2 questions, so I think we're
Okay.
this one and then this one and then maybe King Deontay's also?
No, I was going to say end on this one, but we
Okay,
might...
that's
do
fine.
that. No offense, exec. We just...
So there's that. Can
quite a
you
few.
write the answer choices?
Yeah.
This is on
Oh.
SAT number 3. What question is it?
20 or 15.
I think it's number 15 on the...
Interpreting equations.
I don't know if it's no calculator or not,
There you
but
go.
it's on
Thanks.
SAT 3.
Thanks, exec, for putting that back up.
Okay, we have Celsius equals 5/9 F minus 32. If you can shorthand it possibly, that would
Yeah.
be good. We are being asked to interpret this equation. This is This is relating Celsius and Fahrenheit. So if you have one of them, you can find the other. This is a very common question type on the SAT. We call it interpreting equations. So most of the time, you have to build an equation. This is the same thing, except you're going in the opposite direction. So what happens here? What I like to do is I like to write this in slope-intercept form, because that's the way we see it most often. So we're going to have C equals 5/9 F. So that's, y equals mx plus b, which would be minus whatever this is. I don't really care, so I'm not going to solve it. 5 times 32 over 9. Now, the answer choice, or these things, let's not write up the answer choices. Let's just prove which ones are true.
Yeah.
If F increases by 1 degree Celsius, C increases by 5/9 of a degree. If F increases by 1 degree, C increases by 5/9 of a degree. By definition, that's true. That's actually defining the slope. If we go up 1, we go over 5. If we go over 1 in F, because we're going over 1 in X normally, we go up 1 in Y or C. So this is actually the definition of slope, if you think about it that way. So I like this one. Now, C increases by 1 degree, F increases by 1.8. I don't know where the 1.8 is coming from yet, so I'm going to ignore it. Now, number 3, F increases by 5/9, C increases by 1. That doesn't work, because if F goes up by 5/9, so you're going, if we have this axis and this is F and this is C in this writing, then when you go over 1 in F, you're going up by 5/9, you don't go up by 1. That's the opposite of the slope, or that's the reciprocal of the slope, actually. So I think that number 3 is wrong. Now we have to figure out this one. If we're increasing 1, we want to put it in the slope-intercept form that allows us to do this more simply. So what I would do is actually flip this equation around so we have F equals something. So what that means is we're going to add this to both sides, and then we're going to multiply by 9/5 to get rid of this. And this will eventually become F equals
C plus 32?
negative 9/5? No. What am I saying?
Those should cancel out. The 9
Yeah, things cancel out more easily.
9/5
Let's do it here.
C, right?
So we have 9/5 C plus 32.
Yeah.
That's actually easier to get to from here. You just multiply both sides by 9/5 and then add 32. So this is an equivalent equation. And now we can look at this one more easily. We're dealing with the independent variable here. So if C increases by 1, F increases by 1.8. Well, 1.8 is 9/5. That's the same thing. So that's a hard thing.
Yeah, yee boy.
Very hard.
If decimals to fractions mess you up, try taking this into a fraction or back to a decimal, or turn this into a fraction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is another way to do this problem. It's just, I think, a little bit less general, and it can still work if you have enough time. And that is choosing an F and C value, a coordinate pair, and then seeing what happens if you increase F by 1. If then your C increases by 5/9, that's the right answer, or this is true.
Okay.
So you tried that on each of those, but that takes a
Switch
while.
you.
Yes.
So King Deontay wants us to answer how part 3 is wrong again. Okay, I didn't hear you do it because I was writing it up, so I'll go through and do this real quick. If your F increases by 5/9, right? Let's assume, I like to plug in numbers like he just said, right? If we have 32 for F, we're going to get 0 for C, right? So 32, 0. Right?
Yes.
Right? Now, if I were to increase this by 5/9, I should have, according to them, 32 and 5/9 and 1. I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to have 5/9 is going to be my difference here. So 5/9, right? 32 and 5/9 minus 32, 5/9. I'm going to multiply these, right? And I'm going to get 25 over 81, which is not 1. All right. Another way to think about this, when you get to this stage, right, if you plug it in and you have it in y equals mx plus b form, slope intercept, this is the amount f changes by, or the amount c changes by anytime f is changed by 1. It is the rate by which c is affected by f.
Brady.
Can you get up here with your computer so we can draw real quick?
One bad thing. Can you bring your computer?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay. We also missed you because somebody, who was it, Lara something?
Oh, yes.
Who subscribed?
Lazarulian.
Yeah.
Subscribe.
Oh,
Come on,
is
do it.
Lazarus still here?
Who
Probably
knows? It doesn't
not,
matter.
but
Okay, hold on.
deep breath, deep breath.
Alright.
He's a little sick, so we apologize.
Okay.
Yes.
Well done, Lazarillion. Well done.
All right,
Very good.
we just messed up that sheet a little more.
you gotta
If
stop
you don't mind.
Dude, you gotta start it.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Okay, great. Hopefully this makes more sense now, King Deontay. We're gonna go ahead and erase this real quick, and we're gonna draw our winners.
Yes. So this is this is your last shot. So we are doing a raffle. Type in
Last shot tonight.
! Ticket, and you can possibly get a ticket, and that enters you in a raffle to have one free essay revision session for College App Essays. So if you're
With
not a senior,
Levi.
it does not apply to you, unfortunately. And
But you can
cannot do
save
it for
those
next
sweet,
year.
sweet nerds for something else later down the road.
Very sweet nerds.
Ideally,
Love
that's
those
the
nerds.
point. That's
Yep.
the plan.
I've been collecting all the tissues that I've been blowing nose with, so if you want to use those nerds, that might be a thing to get.
Like
at some
famous
point.
people, and use,
Prize.
like what the paparazzi does.
Thank you for the bits, yeah boy.
Hey, we got some
Hey,
bits.
thanks, you boy.
It's me eating the bits.
Just so everybody knows who's watching, maybe for the first time, welcome. But also, we are doing a giveaway for 2 of these tickets every single night. So we already have had 6 winners.
Yeah.
We're going to have another 6
you
Wednesday,
actually grab your
Thursday,
computer?
tonight,
Yeah, I do.
Thursday, and Friday. I don't know what that means. Okie dokie. So we're waiting on Brady. Does anybody have any questions about Brendan's personal life or this
Real quick,
raffle?
actually,
Yes.
real quick.
Yeah.
So we've gone over this. We tutor for free 5 nights a week normally on Twitch. We're doing it a little longer this week because the SAT is coming up. We'll do it the same amount of time when the ACT is coming up. Down below, we have links to our Discord where we will answer your questions, and we will use your topics and questions you have to help kind of form the path of where our concept calendar is going to go, the things we'll cover on stream. Facebook page down below. Like it, don't. That's fine. If you're interested in one-on-one tutoring, we do that down below. That is not free, but, you know,
That's why we do this.
that's why we do this. Okay, Mus, anything else I'm forgetting today?
I think not. Anybody have any last-minute questions, concerns, thoughts?
We're about to draw the winner, so
Yeah.
hurry up and finish
Put those
putting in all
last
your tickets if you
minute
want.
ticket buys in. Bummer. You're done, King Deontay.
Oh, Amber Muffin?
Oh.
Oh. Oh, hello.
Have you seen that?
No, I haven't, but I want to.
It's so funny.
It's how much tuna is it?
It's too much tuna.
It's too much tuna.
Okay.
Somebody buy me tickets.
Where do you want me to go? Stream?
Do we do this for fun?
Yeah, it is fun.
Yeah, technically.
Yes.
I mean,
we all like streaming a lot.
yeah, we do this to help out. This is the free part of our tutoring, right? We do this because we know that not everybody can afford tutoring or can afford tutors, but still wants and potentially needs help. So that's why we're here to help.
Yep. Brendan, I don't know what you want.
Thanks.
I'll take the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that was who asked that.
That was
Guy W. Also, thanks for the follow. I think you followed us earlier.
That's good.
If you just followed, go ahead and try to buy another ticket because I think you get enough points for one or close to enough.
How's it been?
Oh, it's been great.
It's been good.
Hey, Blue Ninja.
Oh,
I had a great physics session.
Did you?
Yeah, it was solid.
nice.
Mm.
All right.
Oh, we don't have points.
Very sad.
Maybe next time.
Good try, Lemon.
Yeah.
All right. We are about to close the giveaway.
Yes, so last chance. Forever until tomorrow when you have another chance.
I'm very excited.
Are you?
Yes.
Good.
I like this part.
All right. We are about to close it. You have probably 3 seconds left by the time I said this because I'm now at 10 in my head. Ooh, Guy, you have a lot of extra shots. If you want to do it, you can get 3 tickets.
Do it.
Lot of noise.
Exclamation point, enter. You got to do it if you're a senior. If not, don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want juniors.
We
hate juniors.
We don't like juniors.
Yeah.
I have a good idea of who's possibly going to win by the number of tickets they have in.
Oh my gosh.
Allow me
We're
to
not
see.
gonna say who it is, but someone put in a lot of tickets.
Ho, 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 ho.
All right. Everybody ready? Everybody ready? All right.
Junior scum.
3, 2.
One.
We've already closed it.
Come on.
All right. It is now closed. Thank you all for playing. We will draw a winner. Wait for them to actually hear that. Maybe not.
No, that's fine.
Ooh.
Execration. There we go.
Woo!
All right. And
Who else we got? Come on.
Blue
Blue
Ninja.
Ninja.
Blue Ninja.
Blue Ninja.
Very
All
right.
nice.
Wait, I
Well
thought Blue
done.
Ninja won already.
No, Blue
No?
Ninja did not win.
Oh man, this is exciting.
Okay. Oh, look at that. One of our previous winners, I Crush Dreams, is here. Welcome, I
Oh,
Crush
hey.
Dreams.
Dream Crusher.
Yeah, no, he was all in.
No, he had a good
Blue
shot.
Ninja was all in.
Yeah,
Yes.
Blue Ninja was on.
That was who I was expecting to potentially get it.
Hey, he gets his time with Levi.
Yeah. Interesting use of those. So, Execration and Blue Ninja. I will message you both on the Discord. Please be in the Discord, ideally with a name that's pretty similar to this. If you're not, then whisper us and tell you. Levi, did you do SATs? Yep. Okay, so
Yep.
I think this is good. I will send you 2 messages if you have similar names in the Discord. If not, please whisper us on here so that
Or
we
message
can
us on the
definitely do
Discord.
that. Okay. Have a lovely night, everybody. You have another shot at this tomorrow night. We're doing these cram sessions for the rest of the week, and then we just do normal sessions 8 to 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 nights a week, Sunday through Thursday normally.
Thanks for the follow, guys.
Thank you for the follow.
All right. See you tomorrow.
You guys rock.